Pokémon, the story of Yu. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 201, Sharona's counterattack. He destroyed a top-level main force of Sharona at the beginning, and he suffered almost no loss himself. This kid is really cheating. It turns out that ghost-type players are really filthy. In the audience, Day swallowed his saliva and said, if he put himself in his shoes, he would also be caught without being prepared. Even if he was unlucky and let in Infinite players the main force, he might really be killed at the beginning. Does Jenga have the ability to transform? Wusong asked. Theoretically, there should be only 3 who have the ability to transform: Ditto, Zoroaster, and Mew. Why does Jenga have it? Isn't it normal for Yu's Pokémon to be a little abnormal? Lihu laughed. But even if I knew that Jenga had the ability to transform, I still find it hard to believe that Yu would fight like this. Mimus, who had not left, even though he lost the game, said, the battle between Latius and Jenga happened just a few days ago. It hasn't even been a week, and that huge shadow like the devil in the story is still in my mind all the time. The aura of domineering and destructiveness frightened Latius so much that he still hasn't adjusted his mentality. He is receiving psychological counseling from Miss Joy at the Pokémon Center. And such a trainer actually played dirty? The domineering style and the routine style are not the same style. So, Sharona didn't expect it at all. Lihu said, with the accumulation of combat experience and the improvement of strength, a person's combat style will gradually become fixed. A domineering style is to attack to the end. A routine style is to use all kinds of tactics and routines. Many times, they cannot be mixed. Mixing them will reduce one's own strength. But on the other hand, if a person suddenly reverses, it will be very unexpected. Just like an honest person who never lies, and a liar who often lies, people are often more likely to be deceived by the former. But using the two styles together is a mistake that beginners often make. Although this is effective in the early stage, it may still affect him in the long run. Wusong said. But from a certain perspective, Yu is a beginner. He is only 11 years old, and it seems that he is only a few months away from 12 years old. Now he is just learning various fighting styles, Densi said. As soon as Densi spoke, the group of people who were originally talking about it suddenly became quiet. Most of them were ranked 2, and a few were already in their 20s, and some were almost 30. And now there is a ranked 1. All of a sudden, a group of people who have been the pride of heaven since childhood suddenly felt that they were living a dog's life at their age. Kiku, who was watching the game in front of the TV, was laughing from ear to ear. At the beginning, there was almost no loss, and she destroyed a top king on the opposite side. She had never achieved this record. This is the essence of the Kyojin family ghost. In contrast, Sharona's confident and calm expression completely disappeared. The second warrior, the main king, came on the field. Not only did he fail to realize the plan of clearing the team, but he also caused almost no damage to the opponent, and was defeated by a song of destruction. This kind of failure was the first time Sharona encountered. After a while, Sharona smiled again. Her eyes were as bright as stars, even brighter than when the game started. She looked at Yu and said, you are really strong, very strong, much stronger than I thought. You were wrong before. It shouldn't be 30-70 between us. You don't have only a 30% chance. Yes, not only 30%, but not even 30. Yu looked at Sharona, who had cheered up so quickly and was even more motivated than before, and smiled bitterly. If Sharona was the same as usual, his winning rate would be 30%. If he was hit, or was particularly impulsive, and wanted to turn defeat into victory, it would be 40%. But now, it might be 20%. You said that yesterday, and then you defeated my Tojik yesterday. Now you say that. Do you want to defeat my Garchomp again? Sharona said. From this moment on, she would not believe a word Yu said. I never lie, I mean what I say. Yu smiled. Sharona did not talk again, but released her second Pokémon, Milotic. Genji UI, come back. Yu took out the Pokeball and took back Jenga. According to the data, Milotica may not be at the king level, so other Pokémon can be put on the field. After taking Jenga back into the Pokéball, Yu did not release the second Pokémon immediately, but rotated several Pokéballs, then drew one of them, and threw it out, saying, "Let Raichu appear." Raichu jumped onto the field, and waved his fist, with electricity flashing on his cheeks. Miss Sharona sent out the water-type Milotica, and Yu sent out the electric-type Pokémon Raichu that restrains water types. But is this really Raichu, not Jenga? Let's wait and see. The commentator explained. Raichu, electric field. Yu said. The electric bag on Raichu's cheek flashed, and the electric light spread. The electricity spread along his feet to the entire ground, shining with golden light. Milotic, pray for rain. Sharona said. Milotica hummed softly, making a pleasant sound, and immediately the sky fell with a patter of rain. What? Facing an electric Pokémon, Sharona actually asked Milotic to use Pray for Rain. This can certainly enhance Milotic's water-based special moves, but it will also increase the hit rate of electric-based special moves. What is this for? The commentator expressed everyone's doubts. Raichu, maximum power, 100,000 volts. Yu was not confused. He guessed what Sharona was thinking. I will give you everything you want. Let you reach the strongest, and then defeat you. The absolute confidence of the strong. And want to avenge the previous shame. And in this case, there is a very troublesome thing. Yu needs to use this 100,000 volts to verify. Thunder. The electric bag on the cheek of Raichu flashed wildly, the electricity was diffused, and the terrifying electric current burst out. In an instant, it came in front of Milotic, extremely violent. Mean Shao, Dragon Wave. Sharona said. Milotic raised its long neck, and sent out energy waves. The purple dragon shadow roared, and collided head-on with Raichu's 100,000 volts. Accumulated explosions occurred, and the energy aftermath shook. Raichu was hit by the strong energy shock, and almost lost his balance. Yu frowned. Raichu's electric current trick itself was stronger than the level of ordinary Pokémon. With the double increase of the electric field and rainy days, it almost reached the level of the king of attacks. Milotic used dragon waves to fight back easily, and it was probably another king of the king. If so, Yu would doubt whether she had 5. Good power, but still not enough Milotic Iron-Tail. Sharona ordered brazenly. Milotic moved quickly, and the long tail was shining with a bright white metallic luster, and hit Raichu fiercely. Raichu, explosive fist. Yu said. Raichu's fist shone with white light, and he used all his strength to hit Milotic's tail. The fist and tail collided violently, and a strong force burst out, but was knocked away. Water wave. The water in the mouth of Milotic condensed, and a blue water ball formed out of thin air, quickly blending into the rain curtain, shaking the entire rain, and violently rushing towards Raichu. Raichu, use a more powerful 100,000 volts. Yu said. Electricity surged in Raichu's body, and it exploded again, attacking the water ball head-on, and the water ball exploded instantly, blooming in all directions. But then, Milotic's steel tail hit again, knocking Raichu away, and fell on the wall, his face full of pain. Raichu, come back. Yu picked up the Pokéball, and prepared to take back Raichu. Milotic's strength was indeed at the king level. Even though it had superior attributes, Raichu was no match, so he had to take it back, and let Dragonite appear. Even so, after Jenga and Dragonite lost their combat effectiveness, this game would not have to be played, but if Dragonite was not allowed to come out now, it would not matter. Block the way. But at this moment, Sharona said slowly. Blue light flashed in Milotic's eyes, and an X shape flew out, and landed on Raichu, and the red light was directly ineffective. Yuyu's expression changed again. June's debt must be paid quickly. Sharona stared at Yu, her beautiful eyes always smiling. How did you win before? Now you will lose to me the same way. Chapter 202 Raichu's determination. It's really recovered immediately. Even if Yuyu's Raichu has superior attributes, it's no match. Liho said. The higher the level and the stronger the strength, the less effective the attributes will be. Who doesn't have some special defenses against its attributes? No matter how powerful the lightning is, if it can't hit, it will be ineffective. Wuzong said. Compared to this, shouldn't you be more surprised by Sharona's strength? The strength of this melodic is not in the data. In other words, she is already at the level of the 4th king. Even the kings in the league seem to have few who have reached this standard. Denji said. Wuzong and his friends felt a little painful in their heads again. Of the 2 people on the field, one is weaker in strength on the surface, but too young, and they feel like they are living a dog's life at an old age. The other is the same age, but so strong that it makes people collapse, and they still feel like they are living a dog's life at an old age. Drive Kuki, can you not win this game? Lilia asked Dr. Kuki. It's difficult. The level gap between the 2 sides is a bit big. Unless we get close and use a thunderbolt, otherwise, it will be difficult. Dr. Kuki shook his head. Sirona's Melodica's various dragon-type special moves are powerful enough to resist Raichu's electric damage. If they continue to fight like this, it is very unlikely that Raichu can hold on. On the stage, Yu frowned. Raichu was injured in each collision. If he persisted, he would lose. If he wanted to reverse the situation, he could only use the advantage in attributes. Even if it is a king level Pokémon, even if it can use various special moves to resist electric special moves. But it is essentially a water type Pokémon. If you get close to it and use the most powerful Thunderbolt, with Raichu's attack power infinitely close to that of the king and the increase in the electric field, there is hope that he can injure the opponent. While thinking, Yu saw another powerful lion tail of Melodic coming at him. His eyes turned fierce, and he shouted, Raichu, don't dodge, catch this tail with all your strength. Thunder. As soon as Raichu stopped, Melodic's tail hit him hard, as if it had 1,000 pounds of force. Before it hit him, there was a strong pressure, but Raichu stared at it, did not dodge, and used his body to bear this fierce blow. The iron tail hit, and Raichu's whole face became a little distorted because of pain, but his 2 hands held Melodic's tail tightly, and he refused to let go. Mean Shao, shake it off, said Sharona. Melodic's tail immediately swung wildly, swinging it like a propeller. Raichu was hung at the tip, and could be thrown out at any time, and the time to accumulate power was shortened. Raichu will directly use the maximum power, Thunder, Yu said. At this time, the power of the electric current cannot be increased to the peak if Thunder is used, but if it is not used now, it will be even more disadvantageous when it is thrown out. Thunder. Raichu decisively let go, and the power of the electric current on his body increased to the peak, and the strong electric current burst towards Melodic. Mean Shao, mysterious protection. Sharona's voice was still unhurried. Melodic's body shone with green light, forming a layer of protective shield to wrap the whole body, and it still survived under the electric current. Mysterious protection activates Melodic's own gene cells. On the one hand, it can prevent Melodic from falling into a state of drowsiness, paralysis, etc. in a short period of time, and on the other hand, it protects defense. This is why Sharona sent Melodic out, and even dared to fight in close combat. Even if it was still Jenga who was acting, there was a response. The lightning flashed, and Raichu was thrown away, and stood with difficulty. Although Melodic looked a little listless, and had some electric shock scars on his body, it was far from the point of being eliminated. Yu's heart sank. Isn't this enough damage? If it's not enough, there is only one way left. But in that case, can Raichu bear it? Raichu, are you willing? Yes, I want to win. Yu hesitated, and suddenly a voice sounded in his heart. He was stunned for no reason. He looked at the field. Raichu was knocked away by Melodic. The meaning revealed in his eyes was full of surprise. Telepathy. When the bond between Pokémon and trainers is easy and deep enough, they can communicate in the mind without words. It is a magical phenomenon that humans have not yet studied the principle. Like the Battle Frontier, the pioneer brain of the Battle Tower, the Battle Lord Lilla, and all her Pokémon can sense each other's hearts and command without words. It is also a method that many tactical players want most, which can communicate tactics in the mind. Brute force players don't need it. They often think that shouting out is more imposing and can enhance their strength. Yu didn't expect that he would actually start a spiritual communication with Raichu at this time. However, after getting the affirmation of Raichu, he also made up his mind. In this case, let's take a chance. It is to bet all success or failure on this attack. Raichu, use thunder to the sky, Yu said. Thunder and lightning power accumulated in Raichu's body, and thunder roared in the sky. Mean Sheo, prepare for the dragon wave. Sharona said, even if it was thunder, it could be blocked. Right now, absorb the power of the entire electrical field, and then use the most powerful volt attack, run under the thunder, and attack Mean Sheo. Yu commanded in his mind. Raichu took a deep breath, his face full of determination, his body full of lightning, as if the streamer stood under the thunder like teleportation, and the sky full of lightning fell on Raichu. Raichu gritted his teeth, and refused to escape, absorbing power with all his strength. It wants to win. It wants to be Yu's hero. In the last game, it was obviously sure to win, but in the end it was defeated by the beauty of the Ice Elf. After returning, Yu did not blame it, but Raichu blamed itself, deeply regretting that it was actually confused by the beauty of men, and finally lost the game without helping Yu at all. This time, it must not be like this. Lightning flashed in Raichu's eyes, and lightning rolled, turning into a layer of terrifying lightning power that condensed on the surface hair of the skin, forming a golden armor. Damn, there is such a trick. Day's eyes widened. Basic operation. Kanto League Quartz Conference. In the finals, I remember doing it this way. It's just that the power is stronger than that of the Quartz Conference. Can Raichu survive it? Lihua said. This is a gamble with life. The special move of thundering acts on the body of electric Pokémon. There is a 50% chance that the electric energy outside the body will be enhanced, and the attack power will be greatly improved. There is a 50% chance of failure, which means that it will withstand the attack, and even if it succeeds, it will not last long, not to mention the gap in strength between Milotic and Raichu. It is not enough to just absorb the power of thundering, and volt attack is also needed. In this case, the pressure on Raichu is beyond imagination, and it is likely to fail before it succeeds, said the electric expert Tensei. Mean Sheo, destroy the death light, said Sharona. She would naturally think of what Day and the others thought of. Since the power is so terrifying, don't send it out. The destructive power gathered in the mouth of Milotic, and the orange-yellow beam of destruction suddenly burst out with a surging momentum, directly targeting Raichu. At the critical moment, Raichu roared, controlling thousands of thunder and lightning, as if the god of thunder was reborn, wearing a golden armor of thunder and lightning, with a flash of lightning running across, confronting the destructive death light head on, running wildly in the destructive death light. The ground cracked along the way, and the mighty collisions occurred, and the venue exploded. Raichu's petite body flew directly out, and Yu's ghost energy flowed, reaching out to hug him, and seeing that Raichu was covered in wounds, and had completely fainted. The Milotic on the opposite side was also not much better, lying on the ground with wounds all over his body, but he still had a breath. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 203, Jenga's Power, Final Battle with Garchomp. My goodness, even though he tried his best, this move is too strong. A Quasi King confronted the King level destruction ray head on, and rushed all the way, to seriously injure the opponent. Day said, it is very strong. Densei was also surprised. He could understand this operation, but because it was dangerous, he didn't do it. But now it seems that he might be too cautious. Such power is enough to fight. Ordinary electric Pokémon will be dangerous. But if it has three characteristics of power storage, lightning rod, and electric engine, will the risk be greatly reduced. However, in this case, Yu still has the advantage. Sharona is equivalent to losing two Pokémon. Wusong raised his eyes and said, self-regeneration. Wusong's voice just fell, and Sharona gave an order, not knowing whether she heard his words. The originally bruised and battered Milotica with no fighting power struggled to stand up, and the green light around his body shone, full of the breath of life, and his body was getting better little by little. Miss Sharona's Milotic can actually regenerate itself. Even if Raichu used all his strength to attack, it wouldn't have much effect. Facing such an opponent, what else can you do? The commentator came online. Genji UI, come out again. Yu threw the Pokeball, and Jenga flashed by, revealing a sinister smile. You sent out Jenga again. Jenga just defeated Miss Sharona's Togekiss with a trick. What can he do now? The commentator said. Mean Sheo, self-regenerate. Sharona ignored Jenga and continued to issue recovery orders, first recovering to the state of complete victory and then taking action. Recovery blockade. Milotic was ready to act again, but before using his special move, Yu's voice suddenly stopped him, and Jenga's eyes glared, and a pair of black energy phantoms of eyes emerged and imprinted on Milotic, and Milotic was immediately restricted. Recovery block. Yu's Jenga actually knows this trick. This trick will invalidate all the tricks that can restore physical strength. Even if Milotic can regenerate itself, it can't restore physical strength. But according to the current data of the league, Jenga should not be able to learn this trick. Is it a new breeding method, or a genetic method? The commentator's voice revealed a strong sense of surprise. In the audience, a group of Champions League trainers were also surprised. What kind of breed is this Jenga? Only Sharona seemed indifferent, and showed an expression of as expected. Recovery block. According to the league data, Jenga can't learn it. But in ancient books, there is a Pokémon that can do it, Giratina. Rumor has it that someone once wanted to use the method of Pokémon to continuously regenerate and restore physical strength to capture Giratina, but all the recovery effects were cancelled next to Giratina. And this Jenga is just as expected. It is just a small Giratina in Jenga skin. Mean Sheo, pray for rain again. Sharona said. If you can't take back the black gaze, don't waste your energy. Keep fighting. Black gaze. As expected, Yu gave the order, and Jenga cast another gaze to stop Mean Sheo from escaping. Mean Sheo, water cannon. Sharona said. Mean Sheo opened his mouth, and water flowed violently from his mouth, and he was aggressive. Dive. Yu shouted. Jenga turned into a cloud of smoke and disappeared suddenly. Mean Sheo, Iron Tail is always ready. Sharona said. Mean Sheo's slender tail shone with a bright white metallic luster, defending instead of attacking, always on guard, ready for a thunderous strike. During the long wait, the majestic and powerful ghost power suddenly erupted, overwhelming. Mean Sheo's tail suddenly hit, and it rushed towards Jenga violently, but was knocked away by this powerful energy. But before he stopped, Jenga rushed forward and caught up with Milotic. Another powerful shadow ball hit Milotic, smashing Milotic into the ground, and then continued to attack with poison. There was only one Raichu girl in the team. How dare you be so cruel? Is your Uncle Jenga dead? Jenga was furious with all his strength, and energy burst out, and Milotic was knocked unconscious. Yu's Jenga is indeed his strongest trump card. He defeated Latius, put Togekiss to sleep, and hammered Milotic. They are all so powerful that it is unimaginable. How will Miss Sharona turn the tide of the battle now? The commentator was surprised. Sharona took back Milotic and then directly released Garchomp. Oh my god, it's Garchomp. Has Miss Sharona been forced into a desperate situation by Yu? She sent out her trump card in advance. Is this now an early showdown between the two trainers' trump cards? Said the commentator. Is it coming out now? Yu said while looking at Sharona's Garchomp. He originally thought that he would wait until the last match of 6-6 to fight, but he didn't expect that this was the third one, and he was already facing each other. Let the game go faster. Sharona said. If Togekiss was still there, she didn't want Garchomp to come out now. After all, she hadn't figured out Jenga's strength yet. But Togekiss was tricked, leaving Lucario, the third one left. He was a fighting type. If he couldn't hit the target, after seeing through it, it would be too dangerous to fight Jenga. And the strength of the others was different. If Garchomp wasn't allowed to come out, there would be no other Pokémon. So he might as well come out early. It's just that there are more variables, which will not affect the final outcome. Then come on. Yu let out a long breath. His eyes changed. To be honest, he really had no chance of winning against Sharona's Garchomp, but Sharona still had a choice, and he had no choice at all. Raichu was already the third warrior in his hand. He tried his best, but couldn't change anything. Under the king, the impact was really not big. Putting aside Jenga, a king level Dragonite can only trade 1 for 1 at most, and may not win. So, let's have a decisive battle in advance. No matter whether we win or lose, at least there will be no regrets. Yu and Sharona looked at each other, with war in their eyes. On the field, Jenga and Garkomp were floating and looking at the game, with more murderous eyes. One resented the other for teasing the little sisters in the team every day, and picking on his own cabbage, and now he even took action, and beat his companion into that state. He was really sharpening his knife. One resented the other for stopping him from dating his girlfriend every day, being old-fashioned, feudal and violent, and chasing him to beat him every day. Standing on the field, they didn't even need the trainer's order, they would fight to the death. Gargoyle, Dragon Claw, Ginger, Shadow Attack. Chapter 204 Dilemma. The orders of the two trainers sounded almost at the same time. The dragon power gathered on Garkomp's claws, forming a huge dragon claw mark. Then, a ghost claw stretched out from the shadow behind him without warning and hit him fiercely. Slash. Sharona opened her red lips and gave the same order. Garkomp closed his arms, flew into the air, burst out with amazing speed, slashed at Jenga, and threw the shadow claw behind him. Shadow clone. Yu reacted quickly. It was normal for Garkomp to be strong. It would be abnormal if it was not strong. Jenga was also prepared. After being beaten so many times, he knew the strength of Garkomp and did not hope to hit him with the previous move. He shook his body and transformed into dozens of clones, which were densely packed in the air. Garkomp missed and looked around hesitantly, unable to judge which one was Jenga's real body. Every time Jenga came to TZV, he used this trick to escape. At first, Garkomp could easily distinguish it, but later, it could not distinguish it. This trick can be said to be trained by it. Strange light. Yu said. In a head-on battle, it is definitely not a match. First, add some negative weakening to Garkomp. Strange light, resentment, curse, everything that can be used. After receiving the order, all Jenga's eyes emit strange light spots and attack Garkomp. Tornado. At this time, the command sounded. Garkomp's dragon energy glowed and shone all over his body. Then he flew at a super high speed close to the speed of sound. A huge tornado was formed. Before Jenga's strange light spot hit, it was blown away by this 100-meter high hurricane, and the dozens of parts of Jenga's body were destroyed. Jenga was hit by the tornado energy and flew to the side like a kite with a broken string. For the first time in the game, he showed an embarrassed look. Genji UI, stabilize your body and use Shadow Ball, Yu said. In Jenga's hands, a huge dark energy ball condensed and exploded, smashing towards Garkomp like a falling comet, powerful enough to scare ordinary King Pokémon. Kill. Sharona gave the order without changing it. Garkomp turned into a white light and rushed over. The white light in his hands glowed, and he chopped down fiercely, splitting the shadow ball in half. The huge shadow ball that had defeated Latius and Milotic completely exploded, and the energy scattered, but Garkomp was unharmed, and went straight through Jenga, knocking Jenga to the ground heavily. Jenga'd. Yu looked at the falling Jenga with a worried look on his face. Not bad. The falling Jenga replied. That's even worse. Garkomp, keep up the dragon claw. Sharona said. Garkomp turned into a white light, and came down at an amazing speed, hitting the ground fiercely. Jenga'd, dive. Yu shouted. Jenga's body immediately turned into a cloud of smoke, and dissipated directly in front of Garkomp. Garkomp's ultimate attack only hit the ground. Garcho, detect the fluctuations, and prepare to attack. Sharona said. Garkomp nodded, his eyes sharp, and he was alert, and guarded all around. Suddenly, he sensed a strong ghost energy fluctuation in the sky. His eyes suddenly became sharp, and he immediately flew into the sky. With a stroke of his arm, the power of the dragon claw surged, and the ghost power collapsed instantly. However, this easy victory made Garkomp uneasy. Before he could react, a cold current suddenly came. A group of black shadows swept over. Jenga was like the infinite demon king, but there was a fierce cold current in his mouth. Even though Garkomp was suddenly hit by such a powerful trick, he was still knocked out. Dragon fluctuation. However, at the moment of flying out, Sharona's command continued to sound. After being knocked out, the unbalanced Garkomp was still able to find the right opportunity and launch a terrifying attack. The purple dragon phantom appeared ferociously, roaring and piercing Jenga from the front. Jenga, who had just succeeded, immediately received another counterattack and fell heavily to the ground, looking very embarrassed. After being knocked back for a distance, Garchomp quickly stabilized his body, but from the outside, he did not look injured. Yu Yu's face was extremely ugly. The spirit of the sneak attack plus the stand plus the freezing wind that had 4 times the restraint on Garchomp was only a minor injury. The gap in strength between the two sides was too big. Chase. Sharona still ordered. After a short fight, they almost figured out the way. It was almost the same as expected. The strength was not weak, and he was good at various weakenings. The tactical coordination was exquisite. If Garchomp had not specially prepared for the defense against ice-type tricks and the gap in strength, the previous move would have seriously injured him. But he also knew this. As long as he was not hypnotized and listened to the Song of Destruction, Jenga would not be a match for Garchomp. In this case, let's have a decisive battle. Garchomp attacked brazenly, bringing endless killing, hunting Jenga like a high predator. Jenga, do your best, dodge, Yu Yu said. If you are not as strong as him, you will definitely lose. If you confront him head on, you can only dodge at a very fast speed and wait for the opportunity. Even so, the chance of winning is still slim. Even if you keep getting beaten like this, you will feel very aggrieved. But this is the only way to win, otherwise you will not win. If you attack by rushing, and you may even fall into the opponent's trap. Jenga understood and played his greatest advantage, appearing and disappearing like a ghost, with his figure everywhere, and he would leave as soon as he touched him, and he would never fight with Garchomp. Even if he dodges a little and gets hurt, he doesn't care at all. Wait. This is the unanimous idea of Yu Yu and Jenga after their minds resonated. Showing weakness to the enemy, lying dormant waiting for the opportunity to kill. You are really a good opponent. In the next regional king exchange competition, I will go to Kanto as the champion of Sinnoh to compete with you. At that time, I may not be your opponent, but now, I'm sorry, I want to win this game. Sharona looked at Yu Yu word by word, her red lips slightly parted, and she said with murderous intent, Griffin, Sandstorm. Gargoyle immediately let out a long roar, and the sandstorm rolled up, covering the entire training ground, as if it had entered a desert area all of a sudden. And Gargoyle himself shuttled freely in the sandstorm, with a pair of sickle-like arms, just like a soul-catching messenger. Although he is not called the desert tyrant like Bangala, who can call for sandstorms when he appears on the stage, Gargoyle is also the master living in the desert. Endless sandstorms spread, covering the sky and the earth. Countless grains of sand and dust are attacking Jenga like hidden weapons at this moment. Even though Jenga is extremely fast, he is always in this space, with scars on his body. High in the sky, Muto floats quietly, taking everything in. Chapter 205 Super Evolution and Exclusive Z. A champion born in advance. I'd better go back to Hone. Looking at everything in the arena, Minas sighed. Facing Yu Yu, who still hid his strength, and facing Sharona, he had almost no power to fight back. The gap between him and Sharona was obvious. Don't say it, your Hone's Dago is weak. If you go back, you still can't get the championship. Lihua said ruthlessly. Not necessarily. Minas disagreed. Others didn't know the Hone champion, but as Mikul's junior brother, how could he not know? That champion should be the most unrestrained and willful champion in the world. Maybe one day, he won't do it anymore and go back to inherit the billions of assets to dig stones. Lihua glanced at Minas, very curious about where his confidence came from, but didn't ask. It is a taboo to talk about deep things with people who are not familiar with each other. There is no need to ask and offend people. Instead, he looked at Yu Yu on the stage. Being forced to this point, what should you do? Use your Z move for the final blow? Miss Sarona's Garchomp is too strong. The sandstorm is like the ruler of the desert. Even though Yu Yu's Jenga is elusive and has all kinds of tricks, he is still powerless in the sandstorm and in danger. In the face of such a situation, will Miss Sarona win all the way, or will Yu Yu use the previous Z move to show that earth-shattering attack? The commentator tried to explain the phenomenon in front of him and mobilize the emotions of the audience. The audience stared with wide eyes, looking forward to Yu Yu's final attack. Even Sarona looked straight at Yu Yu. In the current situation, she can actually let Garchomp launch Dragon God Dive to deal with Jenga. The reason why she hasn't done it yet is to wait for that attack. That attack that is close to Garchomp's full strength. Both Sirona and Garchomp are proud. Since their debut, they have never lost. Therefore, they have a strong desire to be strong. However, Yu has no intention of launching Z moves, because it is meaningless. Even if he used Z moves, with his and Jenga's strength, it was not enough to defeat the champion level Garchomp. In terms of strength, they had just entered the top level. Together, they could compete with the top level, but that was all. The dust spread, and Garchomp controlled the two powers of the dust, constantly hitting Jenga. Jenga was also seriously injured in the sandstorm. A deep sense of powerlessness enveloped Yu's heart. Even if he tried his best, would he still end up losing? Just like the initial expectation, the top 8. But only the top 8. Even if Togekiss, who relied on calculations to harvest Sharona without injury, still could not shake the outcome. Once Jenga was defeated, Dragonite would not last long, and might even be defeated faster. Then, how could Flamahorn, Absol, and Stottle be opponents? If in the end, they still failed, was it really necessary to continue fighting? With such a huge gap in strength, was it necessary to let the Pokémon suffer unnecessary injuries and then leave? Jenga, who was struggling to hold on in the sandstorm, suddenly felt his strength fade away. He was attacked even harder by the sandstorm, and fell to the side. He looked at Yu with a confused face. Where is your strength? Full of doubts, Jenga suddenly sensed what Yu was thinking. Pointless battle, so you want to give up? Sensing this idea, Jenga's strength suddenly burst out, breaking free from the sandstorm. A shadow ball condensed in his hand, turned around and smashed it directly on Yu's face, almost knocking Yu off the stage. The sudden scene stunned everyone. Even Sharona and Garchomp were stunned, and did not pursue the victory. Pokémon attacking trainers in the game. This kind of thing has happened before, but it has never happened in the Champions League. Who is not a top trainer, a quarter finalist, and can be called a qua-seeking trainer. How could it happen that Pokémon does not listen to orders? But such an absurd thing just happened. Idiot, what are you thinking about? Play well, whether you win or lose, it's fine. You're just unlucky in this life. The first person I saw when I was born was you, and I'll die with you. Why think so much? What's the point of losing or not? The worst that can happen is that I'll be beaten to a pulp and lie in the Pokémon Center for a few months. I'll pick up girls by the way and stay away from you. Why are you worrying so much? Before the group of people could react, Jenga pointed at Yu's nose and cursed. Whether I win or lose, I'll be with you all my life, so just give it my all. If you lose, let me take care of me. Why think so much? And Flamabron and the others are even dumber than me. They're willing to die for you. Why are they so stupid? After hearing this, Yu was stunned at first, then a shadow ball condensed in his hand, and then he threw it at Jenga without hesitation, cursing. Who the hell do you think you are? You've gone against the will of heaven, and you still want to turn the tables, and be the master? Do you still want me to recharge your game account? The fight between one man and one ghost was beyond the expectations of the audience, but soon most of the audience smiled knowingly. Is this the Pokémon urging its trainer? Although I don't know what happened, it's obvious that Yu's Pokémon Jenga is urging its trainer to fight with all their strength. It's really an amazing bond. As expected, just like Professor Oak said, the bond between humans and Pokémon is the eternal shining diamond. Let's cheer for Yu's Jenga, the commentator said very seriously. Yu, Jenga, come on. Almost as soon as the commentator finished speaking, Xiaoxu, Lily and all of Alola's friends were shouting for Yu and Jenga. Come on, meow. Meow meow shouted at the loudspeaker that appeared from nowhere. Come on. Sakura's youngest son Sota also shouted loudly. Come on. Am I suddenly a villain? Sharona looked at the audience who suddenly changed their stance with a subtle look. That's not the case. In a good competitive and hot-blooded show, there are generally no villains, especially beautiful villains. Yu smiled. You are completely alive. Then let me see your Z move. Sharona said. No problem. Yu shook his wrist, revealing a Z bracelet inlaid with Z crystal. Dark purple light shone, and a strange connection surrounded him and Jenga, resonating with the magnetic field between heaven and earth, preparing to deliver the final blow. Regardless of victory or defeat, he just wanted to do his best to beat Garchomp. One person and one ghost, their minds were unprecedentedly in harmony, even surpassing them. At this moment, they even sensed the thoughts of Lily, Xiaoxu and even Kachi. The Z crystal on the Z bracelet suddenly changed from a standard diamond crystal to a ghost mist, and a stronger ghost power erupted. Lunala, who was far away at the Alola Sun and Moon altar, suddenly opened her eyes. Have you reached the next step so quickly? Enjoy my gift to you. With the outbreak of ghost power, you also understood something at this moment. Lunala's gift. Exclusive Z moves. The second application of Z moves. Unlike the 18 elemental Z crystals, which can be used with corresponding attribute moves, you must have the corresponding Pokémon and learn the corresponding moves before you can use them. For example, if Eevee learns Treasure, it can use its exclusive Z move. And Yu's exclusive Z move is even more special. It is so special that only Yu's Jenga can use it. Just like Xiao's Pikachu's 10 million volts. After obtaining the power of Solgaleo, the electric Z crystal naturally evolved, and the unique Z move produced defeated the ultimate beast Holoid and the guardian god Tapu. There are thousands of thoughts in mind, but everything is just a flash of lightning. Yu and Jenga communicated with each other, and felt this power. The thoughts in their hearts were the same. Get stronger, become stronger, surpass everything, and defeat the opponent. The ghost energy continued to accumulate and explode, like a mountain torrent and tsunami descending between Yu and Jenga. The temperature of the entire arena dropped sharply, and it seemed like it was in the netherworld again. Many children were inexplicably afraid, and hugged the clothes of adults. Raw Gargoyle was even more anxious. The creature's instinct told it that this guy was in danger now. Gargoyle, maximum power dragon dive. Serona also gave the order. A strong intuition told her that she had to act now, otherwise, it might really change. Gargoyle's purple dragon shadow condensed, wrapped around his body, and manipulated the dust in the sky, like an angry dragon, rushing over strongly, destroying the world. However, before hitting, Yu suddenly let out a loud roar. Endless ghost power surged, Yu and Jenga's mind and spirit were united, and the ghost energy burst to the limit. The space around Jenga was actually distorted. A strong ghost energy burst out on Jenga, and Jenga's body suddenly became larger. Spikes appeared in all parts of his body, and most of his body turned purple red. In the center of his forehead, a yellow object similar to a gold coin grew out, which looked like a third eye and a black hole connected to another world. What's more, Jenga's hands and lower body disappeared, as if hidden in another world. Dimensional break. Yu roared. The light of the Z crystal shone to the extreme. Jenga's ghost power exploded to the peak. The entire arena space exploded. The power to destroy everything burst out. The entire arena trembled violently, as if it would explode in the next moment. President Damalanki, who was originally sitting in the conference room and watching the broadcast, could not sit still all of a sudden, and jumped up from the sofa. What kind of power is this? How can it exceed the defense limit of the Champions League? Will the audience in the first row be in trouble? Sitting in the first row, a group of Champions League trainers, just feeling the leakage of this energy, felt a fatal despair. For the first time, they felt so close to death. So close that they couldn't escape. Chapter 206 Mutuo, the real dish. A catastrophic blow was about to come. The audience in the front rows even felt the call of death. Until a light blue energy shield condensed out of thin air. Mutuo proudly flew above the stadium, wrapping all the energy in the energy shield. Finally, the energy exploded. The strong light shot up into the sky, and the entire battle arena was slightly shaking. Everyone couldn't open their eyes. Only after the strong light dissipated did they see the situation in the game clearly. Garchomp fell heavily to the ground, covered with wounds, and completely unable to fight. Jenga also came out of the strange state just now, turned back to its original appearance, and also fell to the ground, exhausted. Oh my god. What happened just now? Is that attack just now a Pokémon? In the end, why did Jenga have such a wonderful change? Is it evolution, or some special trick? Yu's Jenga is really unexpected. The commentator exclaimed loudly, speaking the voice of everyone. Now that Garchomp and Jenga have both lost their ability to fight, what about Master Yu and Miss Sirona? Everyone turned their eyes and saw Sirona standing on the stage in a daze. Her confident and calm face was now full of disbelief. Garchomp actually lost. Sirona was eager to fight against the strong and even indulged herself slightly in the game. Yu Jenga was looking forward to Jenga's strongest attack, but she didn't want to lose. Just like Kyubey, he said he only wanted to lose once, but if he really met an opponent and failed, he would definitely not feel good. As for Yu, his expression was even more confused at this time. A breeze blew over, and he suddenly fell straight down, go beyond the limit, and achieve perfect super evolution. Going to a higher level, to pursue exclusive Z moves. The power is certainly strong. Even though Sirona's Garchomp is already at the champion level, it still lost. But it is precisely because of the strong power that Yu couldn't stand it again. Just like the battle with Zaibo. It was just that Zaibo was supporting him at first, but this time, it was Mewtwo. A superpower floated up and lifted Yu up, and then Mewtwo fell from the sky, looking at Yu floating in the air, his eyes full of disdain, and said, "What a loser. Master Yu, what's wrong? Did you faint due to the impact of the energy just now? If so, Master Yu will not be able to continue the game, and his Champions League will end here and be declared a failure." The commentator explained the situation. After hearing this, Mewtwo's helpless and disgusted expression in his eyes became stronger, and he flew straight into the sky. Then Yu, who was originally floating, woke up all of a sudden, but his eyes were blank and dull, like a puppet, saying, "I'm fine. Master Yu is fine." So next, the game will continue, and Master Yu will send the Pokémon first. The commentator said. After the commentator finished speaking, Yu took out a Pokéball in a daze, and a red light flashed. The flame horse appeared on the field, with its flaming mane fluttering in the wind, looking extraordinary. The Pokémon that Master Yu has brought out now is a Flamma horse, which has never been brought out before. It is the sprint champion in the Pokémon world, and can reach a maximum speed of 240 km per hour. The flames on its body will become more vigorous as it runs, and it is very powerful. What kind of performance will it have this time? What kind of Pokémon will Miss Sirona send out? The commentator said. But Sirona didn't seem to react, and didn't take out the Pokéball immediately. "Miss Sirona, what's wrong? Is it also affected? If you don't react, you will be disqualified from the competition." The commentator said puzzledly, and the audience's eyes gathered. After a while, Sirona blinked her eyes and finally came out of the shock of the previous move. She took back the Garchomp, took out a Pokéball, and released a Lucario. Miss Sirona actually chose Lucario, a Pokémon with both steel and fighting attributes, which is restrained by the fire attribute of Flamma Horse. Did Miss Sirona panic for a moment, or did she have other plans? Flamma Horse, Flash Charge. The command came from Yu's mouth. Flamma Horse neighed, turned into a beam of fire, ran quickly, and rushed towards Lucario with extraordinary momentum. "Lucario, block it," Sirona said. Lucario crossed his arms and resisted head-on. Flamma Horse came quickly, and its horn hit Lucario violently, advancing all the way, and the flames were blazing, directly covering Lucario's whole body and burning fiercely. Master Yu's Flamma Horse is indeed extraordinary. Flash Charge is very powerful. How long can Miss Sirona's Lucario last under the cover of flames? The commentator said. Close combat. Sirona looked at Lucario covered in flames, but she breathed a sigh of relief and gave the order. Lucario, who received the order, immediately became alert. He stamped his right foot on the ground, leaving a footprint on the ground, and stopped steadily, forcing the flame horse to not move forward an inch. Then, the divine power of both arms burst out, shattering the flames all over the body, and flipping the flame horse abruptly. The two fists hit the flame horse like raindrops, and the last blow hit the flame horse's head fiercely, knocking the flame horse unconscious with one punch. Master Yu's flame horse seems to be weak, not as strong as Miss Sirona's Lucario. Even though it has superior attributes, it still can't defeat Lucario. Instead, Lucario seized the opportunity and solved the battle simply and roughly with close combat. The commentator said. Sirona exhaled a long breath and finally recovered completely. Jenga's strength is beyond imagination. It is completely unreasonable. But Yu's other Pokémon did not change. It is still the same as in the information. In this way, except for Dragonite, which is a bit tricky, the rest of the Lucario can be solved effortless. Come back, Flame Horse. Absol, leave it to you. Yu took back Flame Horse in a daze, and released Absol again. Master Yu released Absol again, after losing Flame Horse. This is a real Absol. What kind of performance can it have this time? Said the commentator. Absol, a flash of lightning. Yu commanded. Absol immediately turned into a white light, and rushed towards Lucario. Lucario, wave missile. Sharona said calmly. Lucario condensed his hands, and a special energy ball burst out, hitting Absol accurately, knocking Absol to the ground. Close combat. Then, Lucario acted quickly, and his fists fell like raindrops, hitting Absol, beating Absol alive, and losing the ability to fight. Master Yu has another Pokémon that has lost its ability to fight. Is it because, except for Jenga, the other Pokémons are far behind Miss Sharona in terms of strength? Or has the brain been damaged by the impact of the explosion just now, and there is a problem with the command? The commentator said. Sharona on the opposite side also had a slightly strange expression. Although the strength gap between Lucario and Flamahorse and Absol was huge, with Yu's personality and command, he should hide in a cowardly way first, and then deal with it for a while. Although it would only delay for 1 or 2 minutes at most, the result would not change, but such command was not like Yu's style. Mewtwo in the sky wrinkled his face, and looked at Yu with disgust. What a loser. Chapter 207 Mewtwo, I'm here. Master Yu's Dragonite is really strong. It successfully forced back Miss Sharona's Lucario. However, facing the flying rock monster, it seemed powerless, and lost its ability to fight. In this way, Miss Sharona still has 3 Pokémon that can fight, and the 6th Pokémon has not yet appeared, while Master Yu only has the last Pokémon left. If there is no exception, Master Yu is about to lose. However, with the previous powerful attack, I believe no one will question his strength. Master Yu is worthy of the name of Master. Let us look forward to his becoming the 4 Heavenly Kings next time. The commentator explained the situation, and everyone nodded. There is only 1 Pokémon left, and it can't make any waves. Okay, Master Yu, what will be the last Pokémon? Let's look forward to it. As the voice fell, Mewtwo, which was at the top of the venue, fell straight down, and floated in front of Yu. A group of little guys, still no good. So bad. They all followed Yu. What's the situation with this Pokémon that suddenly appeared? Although it just saved everyone, it's a wild Pokémon. The commentator asked in confusion. It's my last Pokémon. Yu turned his head stiffly and looked at the commentator. What? Is this Pokémon also Yu's? But according to the previous information, isn't it wild? The commentator said in disbelief. Mewtwo's beating of Zaoheo was the only case of a wild Pokémon attacking a human during the Champions League. So the commentator was impressed. You are a wild Pokémon. What are you doing here? Mewtwo glanced at the commentator with an unhappy expression. You are so nosy. His eyes swept over the Pokeball on Yu's waist, thought for a while, pointed his finger, and pointed to the cheapest red and white ball, which floated over. After that, he pointed his finger, a red light flashed, and Mewtwo went straight in. The Pokeball did not move, indicating that it was successfully captured. Then Mewtwo came out of the Pokeball again, and then looked at the commentator. Do you have any opinions? The commentator felt a chill in his body. His intuition told him that, if he continued to ask, he might not have a future, so he immediately said, okay, this is the last Pokémon of Master Yu. It is a unique Pokémon that has not even been recorded in the Pokémon Atlas. It is a Pokémon that humans have not yet discovered. It is full of mystery. I believe that is the last trump card of Master Yu. It must be very powerful. Call me Mewtwo. Mewtwo said coldly. It was not very willing to give its name. But this commentator really deserves a beating. If he didn't say it, it was estimated that the commentator would say that this mysterious Pokémon dodged the attack, and that mysterious Pokémon launched a special attack. It's better to tell the name. Okay, Mewtwo. Its name is Mewtwo. Let's look forward to its strength. The commentator said. Sharona looked at the Mewtwo that suddenly appeared, and her relaxed expression suddenly tensed up again. After experiencing the terrifying blow just now, she believed some of Yu Yu's words again. Yu Yu said that she was not Mewtwo's opponent. She didn't believe it at the time, but now she believes it a little. In that attack just now, Mewtwo could completely block the energy storm. Although it was just the aftermath, it was not simple. The only thing that can be gambled is that Mewtwo should be a psychic, and the Flower Rock monster has ghost and evil attributes. Both attributes restrain the psychic attribute, and the evil attribute can be immune. Maybe there is hope. Flower Rock monster, evil wave. Sharona launched an attack. The evil energy of the Flower Rock monster floating in the air surged, and a purple-black energy ball condensed and hit Mewtwo fiercely. Teleport, Yu Yu said without emotion. Then Mewtwo disappeared instantly, and when it appeared again, it was behind the Flower Rock monster. Then, the purple energy ball in his hand condensed and hit the Flower Rock monster hard, knocking the Flower Rock monster to the ground. If Mewtwo, who had never met Yu Yu, suddenly met the Flower Rock monster, it might be a bit tricky. But since meeting Yu Yu, Mewtwo is either reading a book or on the way to read a book every day. He has accumulated a wealth of knowledge about Pokémon. He understood the attributes of the Flower Rock monster in seconds. Immune to evil attributes. Do you think I don't know the Eye of Miracle, or do you think I only have psychic attribute moves? After a successful attack, Mewtwo condensed a shadow ball in each hand, and then attacked it. With an explosion, the Flower Rock monster immediately lost its combat ability, revealing a pair of big circle eyes. Master Yu Yu's last trump card is indeed worthy of being a trump card. It is powerful. It only used 3 tricks to easily defeat Miss Sharona's Flower Rock monster. The strength of both parties may not even be on the same level. Facing such a strong opponent, how will Miss Sharona deal with it? 3 moves. Sharona frowned and released the Lucario just now. Lucario, use the most powerful wave missile. This opponent is more powerful than expected, Sharona said. Hearing the trainer's instructions, Lucario looked very solemn, and the wave power on his body condensed. A huge wave missile condensed and threw it violently, drawing a colorful arc in the air, so fast that it even exceeded the capture of human vision. A row of surviving Champions League trainers were amazed again. Most of them realized that their strongest was not as good as the third one in Sharona's hand, and it was far worse. However, facing this shocking blow, Mewtwo looked indifferent and didn't even think about using teleportation to dodge. He stretched out a hand calmly, and the wave missile that Lucario had used all his strength to burst out stopped in midair and could no longer move forward half an inch. Lucario was surprised and looked at Mewtwo in disbelief. Where did this monster come from? How could it be so strong? Feeling Lucario's surprised eyes, Mewtwo waved his hand lightly, as if throwing away garbage, and the wave missile transcended Lucario's control and instantly hit Lucario's lower abdomen. An even more terrifying force burst out and smashed Lucario into the wall. It was you, the most powerful just now. You beat down Flame Horse, Absol and the others, and insisted that I go down myself. Okay, I won't command anymore. I will have fun with you. Mewtwo's eyes were sharp, and his superpowers were overwhelming, like a tsunami. Lucario was completely nailed to the wall, his head tilted, and he completely fainted. Miss Sharona has lost another Pokemon's ability to fight. Master Yu Yu's last Mewtwo is too strong. If Miss Sharona doesn't have a trump card stronger than Garchomp, then this game will be her last game in the Champions League, the commentator said. Sharona's expression became more solemn. Her last Pokémon, Shellless Manatee, was not even a king. How to fight against such a Mewtwo? Chapter 208 Damalanki's Headache. The Shellless Sea Cow has lost its ability to fight, and Master Yu Yu has won the match. Master Yu Yu's Jenga and Mewtwo are too powerful, especially Mewtwo, which is not a Pokémon that a trainer can fight against. Even a powerful trainer like Miss Sharona can't stop Master Yu Yu from going further. Master Yu Yu deserves the title. Although he is only 11 years old and the youngest contestant in the Champions League, he is a Pokémon master at this moment. Next, he will go further. We may be lucky enough to see the first 11-year-old regional champion, unprecedented in history. The final match ended with the commentator's excited commentary. Sharona took back all the Pokémon and looked at Yu opposite her with a complicated look on her pretty face. Obviously, a year ago, he was still a rookie trainer who had just got Pokémon. He only had 2 Pokémon, Ghastly and Charmeleon, and the third one, Absol, was not captured until he came to Sinnoh. A completely rookie trainer, he was instructed by himself with the attitude of a senior. I didn't even have hope that he could win the regional championship. In the end, he defeated me. He first defeated his trump card with an incredible attack. Then he completely defeated me with Mewtwo. Is he really only 11 years old? 11 years old regional champion. Hearing these words, the expressions of the Champions League trainers in the front row became even more complicated and solemn. An early championship showdown. Wusong said sincerely, "You are living like a dog at your age." Day complained. He had never been convinced by anyone in his life. Even Sharona, who had defeated him, was not completely convinced. After all, everyone's strength is still on the same level, and Infernape is not far from the championship level. But Yu is different. The gap in strength is not big, and he will catch up bravely. Mewtwo's strength makes Day a little desperate, and that shocking attack. President, can I retire? At the Suzerain venue, Kiku, the only old king of the Sinnoh League who has not retired yet, said to President Damalanki, "What's wrong with you? The alliance is short of manpower now. If you withdraw again, there will be problems with the Sinnoh Alliance team." President Damalanki said, "All of you, please stop being so willful, okay? I haven't even gathered all the champions for Kanto and Johto. You're quitting in Sinnoh now? Who should I turn to? If I don't withdraw, what will I do? Not to mention Mewtwo, I can't even handle Jenga's move. That's an 11-year-old boy, shouldn't he have some strength? Then, you want me, a 50-year-old, who is the same generation as his aunt, to be his subordinate, an 11-year-old child? Otherwise, just fire me. I don't want the retirement bonus." Kikuno said. "A person lives by his face, and a tree lives by its skin." Kikuno has experienced all kinds of ups and downs in his life. In his old age, he only cares about face issues. It would be fine if he had nothing to do with Yu, but Kikuno and Kikuko are of the same generation and played against each other during the exchange competition of the regional champions. How can I face being a subordinate to Kikuko's juniors? There's no rush. Just calm down. President Damalanki quickly comforted him. He was also in a dilemma. Occasionally, there would be 11 or 12-year-old trainers participating in the Champions League. But there has never been an 11 or 12-year-old who won the Champions League. After all, everyone's talents are similar. It doesn't make sense that you can achieve what others can only do in their 20s at the age of 12. But now, there is such a monster being born in front of us. Then, a big problem arises. Should Yu be the champion? Although the strength may be enough, but are the mentality and management ability enough? Let an 11 or 12-year-old child command and lead a work of encircling and suppressing an underground organization? President Damalanki was in a headache when he thought of that scene. How to be stable? How to solve this problem? Kikuno said. "First of all, if you lose, you lose. There is no way I can do about this gap in strength. As the president of the Pokémon League, I can't cheat." President Damalanki said. "Then what?" Kikuno said. "She could still accept this loss. The waves behind push the waves in front, and each wave is stronger than the last." She admitted. The league has excellent talents, and Kikuno is also happy. But he doesn't have to be the champion of the Sinnoh League. Our Kanto champion has been vacant for decades. If he really becomes the champion, it must be in our Kanto, and the people of the Kyojin family will also let him go back. After all, it is impossible for the only heir of the family not to be in the place where the family is rooted. President Damalanki said. "That's good. In a word, he comes to Sinnoh and I retire." Kikuno said. "After living for decades, he must be a little decent in the end." "Okay." Damalanki will speak softly, and after a lot of talking, he finally appeased Kikuno, but he was also in a headache. This is a genius, but he is really too young. As a regional champion, he can't handle things properly, and for him, it is also forcing the growth of seedlings. He is only 11 or 12 years old, and has too little experience, which is not conducive to his own growth. Even if he is a genius, if he really wants to deal with things, he should at least wait until he is mentally mature, at the age of 17 or 18. Even the ancient emperors who ascended the throne at this age had to have the Empress Dowager ruling the country from behind the curtain or the regent ministers assisting in the administration. And at this age, and with this strength, it is estimated that there are still a group of people in the alliance who are restless and want to take action. A person who can be one step faster than others is a genius, but if you can't be 10 steps faster than others, you are a monster. People who are too dazzling may not grow up, especially since he is from the Kyojin family. With such a person, the forces in Kanto will have to be reshuffled. Although this Muto is powerful, even Damlanki can't judge clearly what the guys who cooperate with Team Rocket have in their hands. The people behind the collector of the Orange Islands last time have not been cleared. However, it's a good thing that he is from the Kyojin family. With the cooperation of that Muto, maybe he will not die even if I die. In addition, he has a good relationship with Oak, and from the contact, he is more inclined to the upright ideas of the alliance. Let's talk to Kikuko. See if we can use the request for protection from the alliance to exchange for abandoning the game. Damalanki has a big head on his side. On the other side, after Muto finished the game, he disappeared with Yu in his arms. Zyatsu and Lily also disappeared at the same time. Muto, Zyatsu and Lily looked at Muto, who had transferred them out of the venue in surprise, and said in confusion. Muto did not answer and threw his hands, and Yu fell straight down. Zyatsu and Lily helped him up together. Seeing Yu's eyes closed, they immediately became worried and looked at Muto and said in unison, Muto, what's wrong with Yu? Too bad. He's exhausted. One of you comes with me to the hospital and gets him a room, and the other one takes Raichu and the others to the Pokémon Center for treatment. Muto said. Who will command the rest of the game? Lily looked at Muto in surprise. Did you control Yu and let Yu command the Pokémon? You command yourself? Noob. Muto looked at Yu and ruthlessly complained, and then the power of superpowers fluctuated, and he and Zyatsu disappeared at the same time, and appeared in the hospital. Looking at the empty space with only a few Pokeballs, Lily blinked in a silly way with a puzzled expression. Did I know something that I shouldn't know, and then was abandoned? Chapter 209. Arguments that are not aimed at breaking up are just showing affection. Lilia, Xiaoyao, how is the situation now? Yu's mother looked at Lilia worriedly and asked. Auntie, don't worry, the doctor said that Yu is fine, but he has consumed too much energy and can't wake up for the time being. He will be fine after a few days of saline and glucose. Lilia said. It's good that he is fine, Xiaoyao. I will leave it to you and Zyatsu to take care of him. Yu's mother said. Auntie, don't worry, Yu will be taken care of by us, and he will be fine. And Muto is always here, Zyatsu said, turning her head to look at Muto, who was sitting on the side and reading a book. Yu's mother looked at Yu lying on the bed in the camera and nodded with satisfaction. He is worthy of being my son. He has excellent genes and can even make it to the semi-finals. There are two beauties taking care of him in the hospital. It's the comfort of an old mother. He hung up the phone with a smile on his face and then told Kikuko and the others about the situation here. Xiaoyao is in the hospital? Can't wake up for the time being? That means he will miss the next Champions League, which is too bad. Is there any way to make Xiaoyao wake up in advance? Kyojin said anxiously. What can we do? Xiaoyao's body is like this. Of course it is most important to take good care of her body. Yu's father scolded angrily. Hasn't it been almost 100 years since our family has had a champion? Especially brother, you don't even have a king level champion. No, it's hard to even have a quasi king. I finally gave birth to a promising son. If he can win the championship at the age of 11, my life will be worth it. Kyojin face was full of pride. Although I'm not a champion, my nephew is. Xiaoyu, it's mine. What does it have to do with your brother? Yu's mother corrected. Yes, my brother is just a decoration. Useless. It's all my sister-in-law's credit. Kyojin said hurriedly. Yu's father's mouth twitched. Do you two really think I'm dead? What do you mean I'm just a decoration? Am I just lying there and doing nothing? Well, it may be a good thing that Xiaoyao can't wake up now. Juicy said. Why? This is the championship. Auntie, you didn't get it. Kyojin said, puzzled. Because Xiaoyao is still too young. Being a champion now will not allow him to handle too many things, and it will affect Xiaoyao's growth. He may have reached the level of a trainer, but he is too young, and many of his mental states are not mature yet. Kikuko said. That's right. Kyojin reacted and said. And Xiaoyao's strength is indeed beyond my expectations. Not to mention Mutuo, just the last attack is ridiculously strong. Kikuko raised her eyebrows. Mega Evolution and Z moves, originally thought to have limited increases in the strength of Pokémon, but now, after combining the two, they are completely beyond expectations. Xiaoyu, go contact the Kalos Regional Alliance, and the communication on Mega Evolution must be accelerated. If Jenga can Mega Evolve, I can try to win the championship and retire as a champion. Although it is a comforting thing that the younger generation is outstanding, it is somewhat embarrassing that the championship that I have been fighting for my whole life, but have not won, is won by the younger generation. Especially a niece who can't be raised. It's really heartbreaking. Even the aunt can't get it. Can't get it, that's no problem. We are already in contact. Dr. Britanno of the Kalos Alliance has been invited. Yu's father said. Okay, and send all the forces in the family. Xiaoyao has shown such strength, and I guess a group of people will be dishonest. Kikuko said. Touch Xiaoyao? Who dares? Kyojin eyes were sharp, and she naturally exuded a murderous aura. There are always some idiots who dare. Kikuko shook her head and asked again, but they are all trivial matters. Now Damalanki is in Sinop. Yes, Yu's father said. Okay, then I'll go over and talk to him. The most troublesome person now should be him. After all, Xiaoyao is the champion, and my old rival Kikuno can't stand it. It just so happens that he doesn't know Xiaoyao's situation, so he can blackmail something. I haven't blackmailed him for a long time. No wonder he's bored recently. Kikuko said. A drop of cold sweat slid down Yu's father's forehead. Blackmailing President Damalanki, only you dare. I'd better pretend that I didn't hear anything. Time passed quickly, and Yu lay in the hospital for 7 days. 7 days later, he opened his eyes and looked around in a daze. He fainted again. It seems that the game is lost, but it feels good to defeat Shirona's land shark with one move. Yu, you're awake. Xiaoxu, who came out of the bathroom, showed a happy expression when she saw Yu wake up. Yeah, how long have I been unconscious? Yu said. Today is the 7th day. Xiaoxu said. 7 days? So long. Yu was also surprised. I remember, I just used a Z move and super evolution. How could I be so weak? It was when Xiaozi, the rookie, was not familiar with bond evolution, and he fainted before using all his special moves. Well, the medical report says that you overdrawn your energy and reached the limit. You didn't rest immediately, but were controlled by the Pokémon with superpowers. You continued to operate, which delayed the treatment time. For comprehensive consideration, Auntie directly signed you up for this whole body warming treatment. It was supposed to be cured yesterday, but you were too tired and woke up today. Xiaoxu said. Wait. Instead, you were controlled by the Pokémon with superpowers. What's going on? Yu asked curiously. This? Xiaoxu glanced at Mutuo, who was still reading outside, and smiled and told what happened. Yu was stunned and stared at Mutuo in amazement. Mutuo controlled him and completed the whole process of the game. And he entered the Pokéball by himself and tortured Sharona to doubt her life. Then, I won. The second half, lying down to win. Also, Mutuo entered his own Pokéball. Was he captured by himself? Yu looked at Mutuo eagerly. He didn't notice it just now, but now he found that Mutuo, who was reading a book, had another Pokéball on the table. Yu's facial expression was out of control all of a sudden, revealing a silly smile. At this moment, Yu didn't consider defeating Sharona or beating Garchomp. He only had one thought. I've become Mutuo's trainer. Mom, I've made it. Mutuo looked at Yu's silly expression, moved his fingers slightly, and his superpowers burst out. The Pokéball flew over and hit Yu on the head. You're so bad, and you still need my help. How dare you laugh? You're not a bad player. Yu said. I don't belong to you. Mewtwo said. Yes, you're my friend. You can help me, because I'm so bad. You see, I'm so weak, that I can't take care of myself. Yu looked at Mewtwo pitifully. I'm weak, I'm helpless. Mewtwo snorted with some disdain, and then continued to read. And this red and white ball is the cheapest, and the environment inside is not very good. Let's change to the luxury ball, which is comfortable to live in. Yu said. No, this ball is the cheapest and easy to blow up. Mewtwo said. Although it was put into the Pokeball, how could a mere red and white ball trap Mewtwo? As long as Mewtwo wanted to, it could blow you up at any time. Huh. Xiaoxu showed a puzzled expression when she heard this. It was about to blow up, so why did she care whether Yu's ball was cheap or not? Wouldn't it be fine if it was blown up? You broke up, but you still care about your ex-boyfriend's face? Xiaoxu didn't know why, and a picture suddenly emerged in her mind. Yu made Mewtwo unhappy. Mewtwo blew up the Pokeball, and then a few days later, Yu coaxed it back. Mewtwo entered the Pokeball again, and then a few days later it exploded again. Repeatedly. Quarrels that are not for the purpose of breaking up are all showing off love. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 210, The Champions League ends. After several days of fierce battles, the final situation is finally determined. The new 4 kings of our Sinnoh region are born. Super Power King, Wusong. Fire King, Day. Ground King, Kikuno. Insect King, Rliu. Let's cheer for the newly born ones. At the Lily of the Valley conference, under thousands of lights, 4 people stood on the highest stage and accepted the highest praise. Thousands of spectators cheered and admired, celebrating the birth of the new 4 mountains in their Sinnoh region. However, the expressions of the 4 of them were not very good. Because Yu and Sharona, one was hospitalized, and the other was defeated. So at the end, one person was missing. The 4 of them have different levels of strength. But even the strongest cannot accept the victory of the other 3 people in the round robin battle. So after Kanto, another region without a champion was born. What's more subtle is that, because he did not participate in the competition, Yu was called the uncrowned king, the hidden champion of Sinnoh. In this situation, how can the 4 people be happy? Especially Rliu. As the only non-seeded player in the competition, he is not very recognized by the mainstream when he came here. Although his strength is not weak, and he had the upper hand in a one-on-one duel with Catalia at the beginning. But in fact, basically everyone knew that, if Catalia's main force appeared, he would lose. But before the main force came on the field, Catalia lost 2 games in a row, and her psychology was shaken. Then her superpower burst out and accidentally knocked the referee unconscious. Then she lost the qualification for the competition. Now I decided to practice again. Therefore, this session of the 4 Heavenly Kings is, in a sense, the most unhappy 4 Heavenly Kings. It's finally over, Yu said, and he almost stood on that stage. Next time, Yu will win too. Lilia encouraged. Yes, you will win, Yu said. Although he didn't make it to the end of the Champions League this time, he also gained a lot. Absol learned a new trick, the Song of Destruction. Raichu can learn from Denji for a period of time and learn electromagnetic levitation. Mewtwo has a big breakthrough in his relationship with himself. At least he is willing to be his Pokémon on the surface. Not to mention Jenga, Super Evolution plus exclusive Z moves. It's really powerful. What can't be done in the game can be done in reality. A blow beyond the limit. Once he is familiar with it, Yu really has the ability to face the champion. Sure enough, people still have to go out for a walk. And it also exposes his most obvious shortcomings. The strengths are prominent, and the weaknesses are more obvious. In the final battle with Sharona, except for Jenga and Dragonite, the rest had almost no ability to fight back. Just like what Mewtwo commanded later. It's just right. Take advantage of these years to enhance the foundation and make your Pokémon stronger little by little. Next, go to the Kalos region to investigate the origin of Super Evolution. It's just right to challenge the Kalos League again. The gym competition itself is the best opportunity to train Pokémon. This is the real top battle. Gladian watched everything with a complicated expression. There are people outside, and there are heavens outside. Gladian has always known this sentence, but he rarely encounters opponents, and thinks that his strength is already at a very strong level, but now, he realizes that he is far from enough. Lilia, go back and tell mother that I won't be back for now. I'm going to look for father outside. Gladian said. Brother, it's more professional to look for father at mother's ether foundation, and Yu's family can help. Lilia said. But, I want to go by my own efforts, and I want to become stronger. Gladian said solemnly. Then why not go to Johto? Now the Johto Silver Tournament is being held. You can challenge the 8 gyms in the Johto area. The trainers in those gyms are all very powerful trainers. Yu suggested, and the strength of this session is not too high. Zyozzy stopped in the quarterfinals, but successfully destroyed the opponent's ace main force, resulting in the opponent's ace unable to appear in the next game, and regretfully lost. Then the opponent's opponent became the champion. In other words, if Zyozzy's Charizard had not died with others, Yu, who defeated Zyozzy, would not necessarily lose. In other words, the champion level of this session is also Zyozzy's level. If Gladian goes with his strength, the Silver Companion Battle Beast plus Z moves, there is a good hope of winning. Johto. Gladian nodded solemnly, indicating that he had listened. Okay, Yu, we have to go back to Alola too. Come back to Alola when you have time. Your island tour is not yet complete. Dr. Kuki said. Tell Miss Lizzie that I will go to finish the unfinished battle with her. And tell the Royal Masked Man that I will go to the Royal Dome again to challenge him. Yu looked at Dr. Kuki and said, I will tell them all, and I believe they are all happy to accept your challenge, especially the Royal Masked Man. He even wants to have a 6-on-6 duel with you. A cluster of flames burned faintly in Dr. Kuki's calm pupils. Watching the battles these days has made his fighting spirit, which has been dormant for many years, burn fiercely. Okay. Yu agreed immediately. The salute roared, the fireworks bloomed, and the Champions League, which had lasted for a long time, finally came to an end. Yu, Xiaoxu, and Lilia saw off a group of Alola companions, including Bear Mom, and watched them board the ship back to Alola. Okay, it's my turn. How are you going to arrange me? Or will we just fight as usual? Guzma looked at Yu and said. No, are you interested in being the boss again? Yu looked at Guzma and said. What do you mean? Guzma looked at Yu in confusion. I'm the boss and you are my younger brother? I want to study super evolution, but the research on super evolution has been interrupted and is now distributed in various ruins. Yu said. So, you want me to organize people to help you explore these ruins? Guzma took over the conversation. That's right, you can continue to set up a club. As for whether to call it the Skull Team, it's your choice. I won't interfere. I can also provide activity funds, but it must be effective. Yu said. Okay, tell me the place. Guzma readily agreed. When he lost to Yu, he said that, unless he was stronger than Yu one day, he would always follow Yu. At present, the gap in strength between the two has not narrowed at all, but has continued to expand. Guzma felt that it was almost impossible for him to leave Yu's command in this life. Besides, it was a good choice to leave Yu for a while and experience the days of being outside the Emperor's orders. What about us, Xiaoyao? During the game, we all cheered for you. Kajiro showed his presence, and Musashi and Meowth looked at Yu expectantly. You guys, go back to the old routine and chase Zyozzy and Pikachu, and make up for all the bad things you did before. Then after you're done, Musashi, do you want to be the Queen of Kalos, or the top coordinated trainer star? I can help you arrange both paths. Yu said. Queen. Star. When Musashi heard these two words, his eyes suddenly burst into several thousand watts of light. Cousin Kachiro, no, boss, you really didn't lie to me, and let me be the queen and the star. Is there anything about you that is worth my deception? Yu asked back unhappily. To be honest, he really felt that it was a bit of a waste for Musashi to be a villain. Even though he was not good at Pokémon, He made it to the semi-finals of the grand celebration of the Sinnoh Grand Tournament and the Carlos 3 View Satellite Masters Advanced Tournament. Since he has traveled through time, he might as well change his life. It would be too meaningless if everything remained the same. Yes, boss, don't worry. From now on, I will turn over a new leaf and become a glorious and righteous good person, Musashi assured with a look of certainty. This time, Musashi was really serious. Being a villain is cool, but being a star and a queen is even cooler. Once upon a time, Musashi wanted to be a nurse. Being the strongest villain of Team Rocket and catching Pokémon is not a dream, but a helpless reality. Now I have ideals, but I don't care about reality. Chapter 211, Buratano and Frattery. In the early morning, the fog was a little thin. Yu, Zyaksu, and Lily stood on the dock early. Why don't you go back? I'll pick you up. There's no need to accompany me. Yu looked at the two girls and said. The Champions League ended, and trainers from all over the world went back. But Yu and the others did not leave, but waited for the arrival of the Super Evolution expert. No, I want to see Dr. Blatano as soon as possible. Lily said excitedly. It was best to follow Yu so that she could see the doctor often. Yes, I wanted to. Dr. Blatano was also rated as the most handsome doctor by the Elf newspaper. I also want to see if he is the same as in the photo. Zyaksu said. The most handsome doctor? Is there any reference value for the most handsome doctor compared with Dr. Oak and Dr. Yamanashi? Yu said sourly. Can he be better looking than me? Zyaksu and Lily smiled at each other. Standing on the dock, it was boring. There were only 3 of them, so they started chatting again. Yu, this time, Auntie said that in addition to Dr. Blatano, there is another expert coming. Do you know who it is? Is there anyone more professional than Dr. Blatano? Lily asked curiously. Well, I don't know. It is said that this person originally did not intend to come, and he could not get anything, even if he spent money, but suddenly changed his mind. He must have seen the super evolution of me and Jenga, and came here for a search. Yu said. There are people who are better than the regional doctor in super evolution research. In terms of research, the Alliance should be the best. Lily said in surprise. That's not necessarily true. Yu said. The Alliance represents official justice, but because of this, research cannot be done, and because of its great power and many components, many things are done poorly. Just like when Sinnoh studied the ancient Pokémon Dialga and Palkia, it was always after the Galaxy team finished their research and took away all the good stuff, and then they came to study what others had left. The 3 of them talked and laughed, and it was quick to pass the time. Not long after, they saw a ship coming from afar. Yu showed joy on his face. Although he felt that Dr. Blatano might not be as good as him in some aspects of Mega Evolution, he must have understood the overall system better. It was not known whether Giratina could Mega Evolve or not, but Mewtwo could definitely Mega Evolve. If we work hard to make Mewtwo Mega Evolve, we could really walk sideways. As he was thinking, the ship stopped in the sky and a group of researchers came into view of Yu. Yu, a middle-aged man called from a distance. Uncle Hying. Yu also smiled and greeted him. The middle-aged man, Kyojin, had served the Kyojin family for generations, so he was given the surname Kyojin. He was a real family member who had watched Yu grow up since he was a child. Kyojin got off the boat, smiled and patted Yu on the shoulder and said, I watched every game you played in the Champions League. Well done. Of course, we can't bring shame to our Kyojin family. Yu smiled and introduced. This is Zyaksu and Lilia, my friends. Friends? Kyojin glanced at Zyaksu and Lilia beside Yu, showing a relieved smile and said, they are all your girlfriends. Not bad. Our Zyao has finally grown up. When your dad was your age, he climbed over the wall every day to go to Miss Joy's school next door. Although his Pokémon skills were not high, not as good as your aunt, his ability to pick up girls was really excellent. Unlike you, you are so focused on training, which makes me very worried. Kyojin's misunderstanding made Zyaksu and Lilia, who were originally planning to say hello, blush and shy. Yu asked excitedly, did my dad ever chase Miss Joy? Whether it's a misunderstanding or not, it's a small matter, easy to explain, but you have to find out about gossip about my dad. Children shouldn't know so much. Anyway, your father and your mother have a good relationship, and you are here in the end. Don't care about these gossips. The result is the most important, not the process. Kyojin realized that she had let the cat out of the bag and said quickly, gossip is good for the body and mind, and the results are all good. It doesn't hurt to listen to the process. Yu was still gossiping. Even if his father really hooked up with Joai, they would definitely break up in the end. After all, Joai could only give birth to Joai, and his father was also a single son. If he married Joai, there would be no one to inherit the family mine, and his grandfather, whom he had never met, would beat him to death. Not to mention that Joai never married outside the family, but only married into the family. Let me introduce you. This is Dr. Britanno, a famous doctor in the Kalos region. This is Mr. Fradley, a great philanthropist in the Kalos region. We spent a lot of effort to invite him. You should learn a lot. Kyojin wisely did not dwell on that question, and changed the subject. Mr. Vladley, Yu, who was originally planning to gossip, suddenly raised his voice when he heard the word Vladley. He looked at Kyojin's side, a middle-aged man in a suit and tie, with the style of a successful person, and orange-red hair, like a lion's mane, which makes people remember it at a glance. Oh, have you heard of my name? Vladley smiled and looked at Yu with a kind face. I have heard of him. He is a famous entrepreneur and philanthropist in the Kalos region. Yu pretended to be nonchalant. I can't be considered a great philanthropist. I have only done my meager strength, and it has not changed the fundamentals. I can't really make the porridge. I haven't done enough. Vladley said. Mr. Vladley is too modest. Yu complimented with a smile, but his heart was already racing. Yes, you think you haven't done enough, so you want to start a massacre, killing humans to only 1% or even less, and then there will be more resources, and people won't fight over them. Vladley, another red sun. A great philanthropist on the surface, but actually the biggest leader of the underground organization. It's just that one is the leader of the underground organization Team Galaxy in the Sinnoh region, and the other is the leader of the underground organization Team Flare in Kalos. One chases Dialga and Porkia, and the other chases Zygote. But they are essentially the same. Both are villains that Yu despises. One wants to blow up the world and create a brand new, bright new world without the rest of the dirty humans. The other is full of disappointment with humans and thinks that the way humans fight each other is too ugly, so he wants to start a massacre, and as he's doing it, he turns to the path of destroying the world. Yu really feels like fucking Caterpie now. He just wants to live a peaceful life, compete in the league, and not take the initiative to provoke anyone. But why did one or two of them come to him so actively? I went out to study, and in the middle of the night, I was attacked by the Galaxy team, who wanted to kill me. I went back to the countryside to visit my elders, and after a few days, the rocket team went even further, and the boss came out in person to steal my things. Finally, when I went on vacation, the leader of the Skull team came to beat me. I endured all this. At least I came to your territory. But I haven't even been to Kalos yet. Why did you, the underground boss of the Kalos area, come to me? Do you have to follow the rules? If you want to get involved, you have to follow your territory. You can't cross the line just because Kyrie is dead. Chapter 212. Frada's invitation to battle. I want to learn about Mega Evolution, so I'm sorry to bother you two to come here. Yu said. It's okay. As a regional doctor, my duty is to answer questions for trainers who travel, and I also have a big doubt about you. I have never seen anyone who can Mega Evolve without an evolution stone. Dr. Britanno said. Yes, I'm also curious about this. Fradary said, this is why he came. I don't really understand the reason, so I asked you two to come here, to explore the origin of Mega Evolution. Yu said. Dr. Britanno and Fradary nodded, and went to the villa that Yu had booked. Yu looked at a boy following Britanno, and suddenly raised his eyebrows, deliberately walked over and said, hello, my name is Yu. Are you Dr. Britanno's assistant? Yes, my name is AI Lan. The boy responded. Yu smiled slightly. It was you. AI Lan, one of the few powerful rivals with 4 episodes of his own exclusive animation. It can be regarded as Zyos' strongest rival. Along with Shinji of Sinnoh and Shudi of Unova, they are listed as the 3 characters that the audience dislikes. Of course, this was before Heio appeared. After Heio appeared, everyone became pleasing to the eye. However, compared to the others, Ailan is actually very innocent, just making up the numbers. Shinji is cold and heartless, Shudi is a rookie who is still showing off, and Heio should die and be reborn sooner rather than later. Ailan is top notch, respects his opponent Satoshi, and has good character. To be fair, there is really nothing wrong with her, except that she beat Satoshi in the final and abruptly interrupted Satoshi's road to the championship. Mega Evolved Charizard fought against Satoshi and Greninja 3 times, winning all 3 games. This proves that Charizard is his biological son, and Greninja is just a picked up one. It was not a big deal originally, and it was not the first time Satoshi lost. It was acceptable for him to be blocked by the Divine Beast man in Sinnoh. The key is that the production is a rip-off. Before the game, the publicity was everywhere, and almost everyone in Kalos was praising Zyos. From the champion to the gym trainer, Greninja was extraordinary, making everyone believe that Zyos would definitely win. The title was Champion of Kalos League, Zyos' peak showdown. In the end, it was just a blatant fraud. A group of people were furious. Ailan was naturally caught in the crossfire, but it was not a big problem. Smiling, he returned to the villa that Yu had just booked. He gave the stage to Dr. Blatano first, and let him teach professionally. Even Guzma, who was always arrogant and looked down on Mega Evolution, pretended to listen carefully below. Mega Evolution is a legend in the Kalos region. It is a new evolution form of Pokémon. It is circulated in various places in Kalos, but no one has systematically studied it. It is just a legend until the establishment of the Alliance. I was sent to study this topic specifically, to find people or Pokémon that can Mega Evolve. Generally speaking, when humans wear the Evolution Keystone and Pokémon wear their exclusive Mega Evolution Stone, Pokémon can have powerful power and complete a short evolution. Is that humans giving power to Pokémon? The obedient student Lilia asked curiously while taking notes. No, I don't think so. That is the power of Pokémon itself. Humans just use the Evolution Keystone to guide the original power of Pokémon. Especially after you can Mega Evolve without the Evolution Keystone and Mega Evolution Stone. I think my inference is correct. Dr. Britano said. Lilia nodded obediently. Yu's expression was subtle. He let Jenga evolve, which was to give his own power to Jenga. Not only did he not verify Dr. Britano's conjecture, but he overturned it. Although Pokémon can Mega Evolve with Evolution Keystone and Mega Evolution Stone, if there is not a strong enough bond, the Pokémon will not obey the trainer's command after Mega Evolution. So there must be a strong enough bond. Dr. Britano continued. So Mega Evolution must have humans. Otherwise, even if the Pokémon has both the Mega Evolution Stone and Evolution Keystone, it cannot Mega Evolve. Zyaksu said. Yes. Dr. Britano nodded. Yu's expression was subtle again. How to say it? He found that, although Dr. Britano was doing systematic research, at present, it seemed that his research on Mega Evolution was not as much as he learned about it on the internet in his previous life. Generally speaking, Mega Evolution requires Evolution Keystone and Mega Evolution Stone to Mega Evolve. But there are exceptions to everything. Rayquaza, one of the 3 idiots of Hone, can Mega Evolve on his own without the help of humans. In addition, after a Pokémon Mega Evolves, its properties and characteristics will change, and they can only last for the duration of the battle. Once the battle is over, it will return to its original state. So whether it can be considered a Mega Evolution is still controversial, and it is also a big problem. The origin of Mega Evolution is also a big controversy. Some people think it is a natural birth, and some people think it was caused by the power of Xerneas, the Kalos god of life. Dr. Blatano lectured, like he was in school. Yu listened carefully, and memorized with his brain, and Lily took notes seriously. When it was time for Fladily to play, it was even simpler. He looked at Yu and said, theory often needs to be verified in practice, especially since you did not go through Mega Evolution, but evolved naturally with the Evolution Keystone, so let's practice. Practical? Yu raised his eyebrows. This was really beyond his expectations. After thinking for a while, well, it's my honor to fight against Mr. Fladderly. It should be my honor. Mr. Yu, although young, is the top trainer in the top 4 of this Champions League, and the uncrowned king. During the game, you have to show mercy. After all, my level is not high. I just want to see the effect. Don't hit too hard. Fladderly smiled. Yu smiled but said nothing. I don't believe you. In the Callus decisive battle, your Mega Evolved Gyarados will have to fight against 3 King level players, Alan's Mega Evolved Charizard, Zyos's Bonded Greninja, and Callus's Fire King Pakula Mega Evolved Houndoom. It's a solid champion level. Are you pretending to be here? Not to mention, after Gyarados super evolved, its attribute changed from water flying to water evil, and it also countered my Jenga. Then let's go out and find an open place, so as not to destroy Mr. Yuyu's house in a fight. Fladderly said. Yu nodded and chose an empty place nearby. Infernape, come out. Fladderly took out a Pokeball. A flash of red light passed by, and a mighty male lion jumped out, with its pupils wide open and its mane wild. It was majestic without anger, and with awe. The small Pokémon within a few miles fled in all directions, showing the demeanor of the king of beasts. Infernape, what kind of Pokémon is this? Is it a fire type? Lily asked in confusion. Generally, it has both fire and attributes, and is a king Pokémon. It lives in the grassland area and stands at the top of the food chain. Yu explained that there is no such place as grassland in Alala, so there is no Infernape. Mr. Yu is really knowledgeable. He even knows about Flame Lion. Fladderly looked at Yu in surprise. If Yu knew about Flame Lion, because he lived in Callus, he would not be surprised. But it was really surprising that Yu, who had never been to Callus, also knew about Flame Lion. I can't help it. I have too few hobbies. Apart from Pokémon, I don't have any special hobbies. And I don't like traveling very much, so I can only read more books, Yu said. Before attending Pokémon school, he asked Professor Oak to learn more about Pokémon. This is why he often goes to Pallet Town. Otherwise, Yu really can't play in the mud with 5-year-old Satoshi and Mamoru. Jenga, let's play. Chapter 213, Fladderly's late night visit. Fire Lion, spray flames. Fladderly ordered, and the Fire Lion's eyes were majestic, and a long column of fiery red was ready to go. Shadow Sneak Attack. Yuyu's order suddenly sounded, and the shadow under the Fire Lion's body suddenly turned into a ghost hand, hitting the Fire Lion's chin accurately, successfully deflecting the direction of the Fire Lion's launch. Fire Lion, charge up Flame Attack. Fladderly was not at all flustered after the initial defeat, and calmly issued orders. The Fire Lion's body was covered with hot and terrifying flames, and it turned into a red light and engulfed Jenga. Gui, dive. Yu said. Jenga suddenly moved, turned into a residual image, and naturally dissipated in the air, and the Fire Lion only pounced into nothing. Then another powerful ghost power burst out, overwhelming and hitting the Fire Lion violently. The Fire Lion was in great pain and let out an angry roar, but was still forcibly blasted back more than 10 meters by this force, before stabilizing its body. Fladderly's face straightened slightly. He was indeed a trainer who could enter the top 4. If he didn't Mega Evolve, his strength would not be much worse than Pakura. If he wanted to see Mega Evolution without Mega Evolution Stone, it seemed that he needed to put some pressure on him. Flame Lion, turn your anger into a more blazing flame. Spray flame. Fladderly waved his arm, and the gem ring on his finger shone brightly. Flame Lion glared at Jenga, and blazing flames erupted from his mouth. A hot column of fire spewed out, across the sky, dyeing half of the sky red. Genja maximum power, Shadow Ball. Yu shouted. Jenga felt the scorching temperature, and the casual smile on his face disappeared. Ghost energy gathered, and a huge shadow ball condensed, suddenly penetrated, and fiercely clashed with Flame Lion's flames. The mighty energy wave spread out, and the people of the whole Lily of the Valley Island could see it. Genja, Yu is fighting against others again. On Lily of the Valley Island, he promised to teach Yu the electric way of electromagnetic levitation but didn't leave. Let's go and see. The power of the flames is so hot, that it makes me feel comfortable. Day, who stayed behind because of Densey, said. Densey nodded, and the two of them walked together. Yu, who felt the power of Flame Lion, had a slightly concentrated expression. Although Flame Lion was not the strongest trump card of Fladderly, it was second only to the Mega Evolved Gyarados. Yu even felt that, if Flame Lion could not Mega Evolve, it might be stronger than Gyarados. Although Jenga had many adventures, there was still some gap. If it could not Mega Evolve, it would be a 50-50 chance, and even worse. Let's try it, Mega Evolve again. Yu and Jenga were in sync with each other. There was no need to elaborate on each other. They both concentrated their mental power. Since that Mega Evolution, Yu and Jenga have been trying to Mega Evolve, and Z moves again. It's quite subtle. Both of them can't use it freely now. Z moves are still the Endless Dark Knight, exclusive Z moves, which sometimes work and sometimes don't. Mega Evolution also requires a passive. Not to mention Mega Evolution plus exclusive Z. Fladderly seemed to have seen through Yu's situation, and he kept commanding the Flame Lion to increase the pressure. Finally, Yu and Jenga seized the opportunity. Their eyes were sharp, and the powerful and terrifying ghost power condensed on Jenga. Jenga's whole body flashed with purple light, and it completed the super evolution again, and its lower body hid in the different dimension finally appeared. Fladderly's eyes were fiery. With this, the trip was worthwhile. If you can master this power, it is not impossible to control Zygarde. Sure enough, the super evolution was completed without borrowing the evolution keystone and the super evolution stone. Dr. Britanno's eyes were also shining. He turned on the machine at the first time, saved this scene, and tested the Wava guide between Yu and Jenga as precious first-hand information. Ailan on the side also had shining eyes. Super evolution can also be operated like this? Flame Lion, spray flames with maximum power. Fladderly shouted excitedly, let me see the power of this super evolution. The flames in the mouth of the Flame Lion accumulated and burst out with full force. The hot and domineering flames sprayed out, which were far more powerful than any previous attack, and even almost reached the limit of the king level. However, facing such a powerful attack, the smile on Jenga's face became even more intense. With a sharp cry, the ghost power burst out, and a natural barrier was formed. The blazing flames around him naturally separated, and could not hurt Jenga at all. Then, the ghost power on Jenga burst out, and a huge shadow ball erupted from his mouth, dispersing the flames head on, and hitting the Flame Lion. The Flame Lion immediately shrank and fell down. Transformed again. What kind of power is this? Day said. Super evolution, the legend of the Kalos region. I always thought it was just a legend, but now the facts tell us that it is not. A female voice suddenly sounded. Day looked over in surprise, and after recognizing the other party, he said, Sharona, are you still here? You are not here too? Sharona asked back. That's right. Then Miss Sharona, when are you going to challenge us and become the champion? It's not good for us in our championship to be vacant all the time. Day said. Although Sharona lost to Yu, she has already reached the top 8 in the end. Every year, there is an opportunity to challenge the 4 Heavenly Kings and become the champion. If you are strong enough, you can even challenge several times after being recognized by the league. What's the point of a loser winning the championship again? Sharona said. Before the battle with Yu, she felt that she was strong enough, so she decided to stop practicing and challenge the champion league. But now, since there is still a way ahead, why bother to stop and rest? After saying that, Sharona turned and left without watching the next game. What does she mean? Our Sinnoh champion will be the same as Kanto. Day said. This should be said to be your chance. Strive to become the champion. Otherwise, I will beat you down and become the king myself, which is embarrassing. Densey said. Don't come on, you want to beat me, but it's not enough. Go and beat ALIU. As for me, it's a shame to be a champion like this if I can't beat Sharona and Yu. I have decided to go to the league tomorrow to ask for a 3-month leave and go to the Kalos area to find the super evolution stone first. Day said and left directly. Denji shrugged and left as well. As for the result of the match, it was not important. The Flame Lion was certainly not weak, and Denji was not completely sure that he could defeat it, but he was still far from being able to face the super evolved Jenga. I think it's almost done. We have seen the power of the super evolved Jenga. Just when Jenga was about to take advantage of the victory, Fladderly suddenly retracted the flame line and said, "That's right. Such a battle is meaningless, but thank you Mr. Fladderly for making me more familiar with the super evolution mode." Yu said, "It's a small matter." Fladderly smiled slightly. Everyone went back to continue teaching and studying the secrets of super evolution. After that, night fell and everyone went back to sleep. Until 8 o'clock in the evening, Yu suddenly heard a knock on the door. Yu's mouth curled up slightly, revealing a subtle expression. He opened the door and saw Fladderly and his assistant. Chapter 214 Cooperation with Fladderly. I suddenly found out something, so I came to disturb you. I think it won't affect Mr. Yu's sleep, Fladderly said with a smile. No. Please come in. Yu smiled slightly, stepped aside, and let Fladderly and his assistant come in. Sure enough, they came. During the day, I felt that something was wrong with you. Some things about the information on super evolution are special secrets of our base. We can't leak them at will, but Mr. Yu is an exception. But I think Mr. Yu is really extraordinary, so now Mr. Yu is here, Fladderly said. Oh, what is that? Yu gossiped. He was really curious. It has to be said that in many cases, the efficiency of villains is higher than that of the good guys. It's that the origin of super evolution is not in Kalos, but in the Hone region, Fladderly said. If it's not in Kalos, then why is it only in Kalos? In the Hone region. As Yu was talking, he suddenly thought of AI Lan before. In the episodes, when AI Lan appeared, she was constantly collecting super evolution energy, and then she went to the Hone region and found a legendary boulder and attracted the 3 big bosses of Hone, Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza to fight for it. Later, Fladderly used this to try to destroy the world, and it was generally recognized that the boulder was the origin of Mega Evolution. Yes, it is the Hone region. According to research, we found that, although Mega Evolution only appeared in the Kalos region, the origin was not Kalos, but the people of the shooting stars in the Hone region. Fladderly said, "The people of the shooting stars? Is it related to Rayquaza?" Yu said. Mr. Yu is really wise. Yes, it is related to Rayquaza. We have investigated many ruins and found some clues of the past. Many years ago, dense meteors fell on the Hone region, causing changes in the surroundings, and caused the Hone super ancient Pokémon Groudon and Kyogre to fight, almost destroying the entire Hone continent, until a group of people prayed and called, summoning Rayquaza, and their prayers made Rayquaza achieve Mega Evolution, defeating Groudon and Kyogre in one fell swoop, and protecting the world. And the people at that time were called the people of the shooting stars. Fladderly said, I see, so where are the people of Meteor now? Yu asked curiously. There really weren't any in this animation. I don't know. They may have died. When we investigated, there were only ruins, and no signs of people living there. There are many rumors. Some say that they were destroyed by Groudon and Kyogre. Some say that their power caused dissatisfaction among the nobles at that time. The emperor poisoned their entire clan for the power of Mega Evolution, so that the power of Mega Evolution was controlled by the nobles. But no one knows the details. There are no Mega Evolutions in the Hone region, but they all appear in the Kalos region, said Fladderly. I see. Yu nodded. He and Giratina guessed that the power of Mega Evolution came from Arceus, but now it seems that something is wrong. Meteor, power from the universe. Yu couldn't help but think of Deoxys, the cosmic Pokémon with 4 forms that almost beat Rayquaza into a green caterpillar. All Pokémon with races have strengths and weaknesses. Even the legendary beasts are no exception. As strong as Lugia is, and he is the god of the sea, there is a little Lugia in the Whirlpool Islands, who is so weak that he doesn't even know a single trick. The only exception is Deoxys. All those who can appear in this world are big guys. And since they are from the universe, is there any more magical power outside this planet? Thank you for clearing up my doubts, sir. Yu said. This should be the way it should be, otherwise I would have come here in vain. But it's not Mr. Yu who is thanking me, but I want to trouble Mr. Yu. Fladderly said. Oh, you want to trouble me? Yu had some guesses, but deliberately pretended to be confused. Yes, I want to cooperate with Mr. Yu and ask Mr. Yu to be a partner of my company and study the secrets of super evolution together. Fladily said. How to study? Yu said. The secret of super evolution originates from the super evolution stone, but it is not easy to find the whereabouts of the stone. I only have half of the information in my hand, and the other half is missing. I can only roughly judge that it is in Hone, so I would like to ask Mr. Yu to search for Hone for me. After the matter is done, we will jointly develop it. Fradley said. Jointly develop? Yu raised his eyebrows slightly. Mr. Fradley, don't worry that I won't give it to you after I find it. I believe Mr. Yu is not such a person. I have always believed in the character of the Kyojin family. Moreover, no one in the world is more professional than me in the research of super evolution stone. Even Dr. Britanno is not enough. Mr. Yu wants to know more and needs to cooperate with me. Moreover, I'm very sincere. Fradley looked at the assistant beside him. The assistant understood and opened a suitcase. An evolution keystone and a super evolution stone appeared in front of Yu. What is this? Yu asked curiously. Absol's super evolution stone and evolution keystone as the basis of our cooperation. Fradley smiled. Absol's mega evolution stone. Yu was surprised. The alliance hadn't collected many mega evolution stones yet. He didn't expect Fradley to get one. Yu didn't think that Fradley only had Absol. He was sure that Absol was the only one in his team who could mega evolve, so he took the initiative to send it to him. Yes, Absol can also mega evolve. Fradley laughed. But how can I feel embarrassed to do that? Yu said. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's all due. It's just a sincere cooperation. And to study super evolution, we need more examples and more super evolution stones. These super evolution stones are distributed in various regions of the world. Some are in the mountains, some are exposed in the wilderness and are treated as garbage, but most are in ruins and need to be developed. And these ruins are full of dangers, so I would like to ask Mr. Yu to collect these super evolution stones. Everything we get will be divided equally. And if possible, I would like to ask Mr. Yu to fight more with some trainers who can super evolve and provide some experience. Of course, you don't have to provide it. Fladily said. Mr. Fladily, such a kind invitation. Yu will respectfully obey your order. Yu smiled brightly and agreed. Then we will discuss tomorrow how to cooperate best. Fladily said. Okay, goodbye. Yu waved and saw him off. Fladily and his assistant left Yu's room together. After returning to his room, Assistant Vladily said to Vladily, Boss, do you really want Yu to join? The Kyojin family and the Sasaki family are not simple families. No matter how simple they are, what can they do? Their territory is not in Hone, let alone in Kalos. What can they do to us? And as long as we master the power of the evolution stone, what can the Kyojin family and the Sasaki family do together? Vladily said disdainfully. They dare to catch even the legendary beasts. They have the strength of champions and are well prepared. How can they be afraid of two families? But their strength is not weak either. Do we need Yu? Assistant Vladily said with some worry. We must. There is no one in our organization who can train such a strong trainer except me. Exploring super evolution is not suitable for large-scale weapons. Instead, it is more suitable for lone rangers to fight alone. What's more, according to our original plan, even with the evolution stone, it is difficult to control Zygote. Now it is different. If we can get the power of Yu, communicate with Zygote and control it, who in this world can match us? Said Vladily. Then when do we start? Said Vladimir's assistant. Of course, when he finds the evolution stone. And it's not us, it's the Kalos Underground Organization Team Flash. What does it have to do with us? Vladimir said with a smile. Boss, you're right. Vladimir's assistant suddenly realized. After Yu sent Vladimir and his assistant away, the smile on his face disappeared in an instant. Good guy, you come to trick me, use me as Alan. Do what he originally did. Fight to help you explore the Mega Evolution Stone, and then give it to you, and use battles to collect Mega Evolution energy for your research, so that you can control Zygote? Indirectly become your accomplice. Do you really think I'm stupid? Yu dug out the evolution keystone embedded in the Mega Evolution bracelet with one hand, and then took away the Absol Mega Evolution stone. I want all the things. Cooperation is also fine. But in the end, it depends on who plays who. Picked up a phone and called, Guzma, take Bull Beauty to the home region and form your new team. Chapter 215. Each has his own plans. Absol, surpass your limits. The gemstone on Yu's ring shone, and colorful light burst out, pouring into Absol's body. Absol chirped, and the light was brilliant. The hair on his body stood up, especially the feathers on his shoulders, which were so lush that they seemed to have turned into a pair of wings. Absol felt his new look and power, and his expression was slightly dazed. He took a deep breath, and golden light flashed in his mouth, and suddenly erupted. The golden light was dazzling, like the center of eternity. Then, in the distance, a mushroom cloud exploded. Absol was slightly stunned by his own power. I'm so powerful. Absol, you've also evolved super evolved, and you're still so beautiful. Lilia, who was attracted by the explosion, looked at the super evolved Absol with surprise, and rushed to Absol, hugged Absol's neck, and rubbed her tender cheek against Absol's newly grown wings. Absol twisted its neck slightly, still a little uncomfortable with this new form. It was just that it was not easy to do anything when being held by Lily. After all, as the first Pokémon that Lily could hug, it had always been half pampering to Lily. Yu, how can Absol suddenly super evolve? Xiaoxu, who was also attracted, asked curiously. Looking at the super evolved Absol, she couldn't help but reach out and touch Absol's wings. Originally, Absol was a high value Pokémon. After super evolution, it grew wings, and its handsomeness rose to a level again. Xiaoxu was completely conquered. Absol raised his head, his expression slightly impatient. This was just hair. Although it looked like wings, it couldn't fly. What was there to touch? However, he still didn't dare to move. After all, Xiaoxu was in charge of the food. Although everyone could eat well anyway, being full and eating well were two different things. This is thanks to Mr. Fladderly, Yu said. It's because Mr. Yu is superior enough that he was able to get it. It has nothing to do with me. Vladily, who came over after hearing the voice, said. But I still have to thank you. Yu smiled. Just in the morning, Yu got the half of the wooden board related to the super evolution stone from Vladily. So, although he knew that Vladily was going to extremes and was close to a madman to some extent, Yu couldn't help but have a better impression of him. After all, he gave away super evolution stones and the secrets of evolution stones. Yu hoped that there would be more good people like this. Vladily smiled and suddenly saw that Yuyu's evolution keystone was not placed on the original super evolution bracelet, but on a ring. His face changed immediately and said, Mr. Yu, where is the super evolution bracelet I gave you? Oh, that one. I don't think it looks good, so I didn't wear it. I think it's best to put the evolution keystone on the ring like Mr. Vladily did. Low-key luxury and connotation. Yu smiled. This super evolution bracelet. Vladily opened his mouth to explain, but before he could finish, Yu interrupted him and said, is that super evolution bracelet precious? I didn't damage it. Mr. Vladily needs it. I'll give it back to Mr. Vladily now. If you want it, I'll give it to you. No. That's good. There won't be any problem with these super evolution bracelets. They're like positioning devices, right? Or, Mr. Vladily thinks the rings are not good, but you wear them yourself. Yu smiled. Vladily swallowed back what he was about to say and said, of course there is no problem. Wearing the ring is fine. Anyway, our cooperation is the most important thing. Mr. Yu, wearing the ring is very good. Yes. Yu smiled. Another super evolved Pokémon? Dr. Britanno came over with a surprised look on his face. After learning that it was obtained from Vladily, he took the initiative to talk to Vladily. To study super evolution, there must be enough super evolution materials. However, trainers who can mega evolve are often elusive, and it is difficult for Dr. Britanno to find them. Moreover, in order to conduct research, it is necessary to borrow research stones, which most people would not agree to. Therefore, even if Dr. Britanno has the support of the Alliance, his research is limited. Now seeing that Vladimir casually gave a Mega Evolution Stone, it was different. It's a pity that Vladimir is in a bad mood now and just perfunctorily passed it off. Yu smiled slightly and continued to study and explore the theory of Mega Evolution and occasionally discussed cooperation with Vladimir. The remaining time was to study and discuss with Densei the coordinated use of the two tricks of electromagnetic levitation and electrical magnetic field. Time passed in a flash, and more than half a month passed. Vladimir and Dr. Britanno are both busy with work, and it is not easy to come for more than half a month. After so long, it is natural to leave. Mr. Yu, if you have time in the future, come to our Kalos region. Our Kalos region's alliance is also very good. Dr. Britanno said to Yu. I will definitely go, and I will have to trouble Dr. Britanno when the time comes. Yu smiled. If he hadn't met Fradley, his next plan would be to go to the Kalos region, and he would really have to trouble the local doctor, but now he would go to Hone, and he wouldn't be able to meet him for the time being. Definitely. Dr. Britanno nodded. Yu, goodbye, keep in touch in the future. Fradley said. Keep in touch. Yu smiled. It must be said that, although these two people have their own ulterior motives, they have been getting along very harmoniously during this period of time. It was not until the ship left and returned to the cabin that Fradley's face completely turned cold. What a little devil. It's really difficult to deal with. Boss, Yu doesn't cooperate? Should we still help him? Fradley's assistant said. Yes, because it's not us who help him, but him who helps us. Although he is very careful, as long as he finds the boulder, he is helping us. At least for now, he is still cooperating with us, but he is just a little more cunning and cautious. Fradley said. Who should be in charge of collecting the super evolution energy? Bala, Claire and the others have missions to capture Z2, and we don't have many people. Should we let Akbi do it? Said Assistant Vladimir. No, Akbi's strength is not enough, and I already have a suitable candidate. Said Vladimir. A new candidate? Assistant Vladimir was surprised. Yes, the most suitable candidate. Vladimir looked out the window at Alan who was training on the deck. There are really many geniuses in this era. There is one over there, and there is another here. Although this one is relatively immature, immaturity has its advantages, and he is easily obedient. Charmander, the final evolution of Charmander, can also super evolve. Yu, what are we going to do next? Asked Xiaoxu. Of course I will continue to train. First, let Raichu learn electromagnetic levitation, and then let Absol master the power of super evolution. After these two things are done, it will take some time. You, follow me for the time being. Lily, how about you? Do you want to go back to school? Yu asked. No, I want to be like Big Brother Gladian, traveling and looking for my father, so I want to continue traveling with you. Lily said. Okay, now we will train here for a while, and then we will go to the Orange Islands, fight the Orange League, to train Squirtle and others, and then take you to meet Lugia and chat. Yu said. Lugia. Yu, if Lugia has seen the movie you made, will he still chat with us? Xiaoxu said a little worriedly. It's okay, Lugia, he may not have seen it. And can't we just make another movie? Yu said confidently. Just in case a fight really breaks out, he will not be afraid with Mewtwo on the left and Giratina on the right. Okay, that's it. Train the Pokémon, and then go to the Orange Islands. Yu said. Chapter 216 The sudden appearance of the knocking monkey. Xiaozi has made it to the Johto League. Xiaomeo has also returned. So what does it have to do with me? On the Orange Islands, Yu, wearing loose beach pants, was lying on a lounge chair, drinking an iced drink, and said to Professor Oak. After arriving at the Orange League, Yu took his girlfriend on a tour, while challenging the Orange League. As a challenge ceremony of the Orange Islands, the Orange League is similar to the island tour of the Alola region, and the difficulty is similar, or even slightly lower. Yu naturally cleared all of them easily, and won the Orange League Winner Cup. Then, he came to Asia Island to strengthen his relationship with Lugia and the three gods again. As a result, it was time for the Johto League Silver Conference. Xiaozi has made it to the Johto League Silver Conference this time, and it is very likely to win the championship, so why don't you come? Xiaomeo has also made great gains in the Kalos region. as a strong rival recognized by both of them. You don't come to care? Professor Oak said. No. Yu put the drink aside, put his hands behind his head, and lay comfortably. What's there to go? Zyos, he won the championship. It's not a Lala. Maybe in another 10 years. And Zyomeo, why should I go to him? Watch him show off, and then beat him up. Besides, what's so good about Zyos and Zyomeo? To rough guys? Can they compare with Zyaksu and Lilia? Looking at Lily and Zyaksu in swimsuits in front of him, Yu's mouth curled up, so happy, feeling that life has reached its peak. Orange Islands is really a good place. Sunshine, beaches, waves, and most importantly, beautiful women in swimsuits. What am I going to Kanto for? Really not coming? Professor Oak said. No. Yu affirmed. Yu, Big Brother Gladian said that he has won 8 gym badges and is now going to Silver Mountain to participate in the Silver Conference. Let's go together and cheer for Big Brother. At this time, Lily suddenly ran over with Baegungan in her arms. Glazio, to make it to the Silver Conference. That's right. I recommended him to go. Yu reacted and said to the phone, Grandpa Oak, the Silver Conference, right? I'll go. How can I not go to such a grand event? The corner of Professor Oak's mouth twitched on the other end of the phone. If I believe you, I'll take your last name. Regardless of Professor Oak's complaints, Yu hung up the phone and looked at the sky in the distance. There were violent storms, lightning and thunder, and a water tornado blew up, and the lightning and wind gathered together. Yu picked up the loudspeaker on the side and shouted over there, Lugia, Dragonite, I have something to go, don't practice for now. In the storm, Lugia heard it and flapped his wings. The violent storm, lightning and thunder, and the water tornado all dissipated in an instant and then flew towards Yu. As for Dragonite, it was in the storm and was blown dizzy and fell into the water. What's wrong? Is there something wrong? Lugia said. I have something to do, so I have to leave the Orange Islands. Yu said. Leaving the Orange Islands? Dragonite has not been successfully trained yet, Lugia said. Just as Yu expected, Lugia was not very angry with Yu. After Yu gave him a series of gifts and promised to make a movie for Lugia, Lugia generously forgave Yu. Although he did not agree to let Dragonite become a 3rd level god, he agreed to train Dragonite. Then let Dragonite stay with you, Lugia, learn more from you, and help you. If you need anything, let Dragonite do it, Yu said. He had never registered with the league before, so the league's rule that a trainer's Pokémon cannot exceed 6 when traveling abroad did not apply to him. But the next challenge to the home league is a formal challenge. There will be no missing procedures. When you get the Pokémon Pokédex, you can only carry 6 Pokémon. And if he counts Mewtwo, he already has 8 Pokémon. There are a few that cannot be brought with him, so it is best for Dragonite to stay. Staying with Lugia all the time, maybe he can change his mind. After all, Yu is an expert in studying the psychology of Pokémon. Think about how domineering Giratina was in the past, but now he has been trained from a Pluto dragon to a Footy dragon. How lonely Mewtwo is, but now he is also entangled by him, right? If you keep rubbing, there will always be a chance. Okay, but you must remember what you promised me, to make a movie. I will defeat all other Pokémon, Lugia said. I will let everyone know that there is only one Poseidon, Yu said firmly. Very good. As long as the filming is done, the Dragonite thing can also be considered. Lugia nodded. Don't worry. Yu's voice suddenly rose. Just for your words, I will also film it for you. Lugia nodded with satisfaction and then flew into the sky again, controlling the wind, rain, thunder and lightning, and the ocean currents in all directions. Lugia has never tried such a way of operation. Because the individual strength is too strong, the fighting is full of talent. There is almost no deep care. The energy of the one is unlucky and may not be as good as humans. It is also very practical. Let it feel that when you see Gaoka, you can stun the Aoka. Don't think that a primitive return is great. Rocky studied, worked hard to see Genji UI, and strived to become a little richer, who was wearing fast dragon leather. Yu didn't know this either. When he saw Dragonite nod, he thought it understood, and showed a relieved expression. Come on. He got up and packed up his things, then collected all the Pokémon, except Dragonite and Mewtwo into the Pokéballs. Yu and the other two left the Orange Islands and headed for the Johto region. After drifting on the sea for a few days, they successfully landed in Yanmo City. Just as they arrived at the dock, a dark shadow flashed by and crashed into Yu and the others. Yu waved his hand, and the ghost energy flashed, forcing the black shadow to stop. Yu and the other two could see the black shadow clearly. It was a green little monkey with a small wooden stick on its head. Strange. How could this Pokémon be here? Yu was surprised. What kind of magic is this? So cute. Is it a special Pokémon in Kanto? Lily showed curiosity, walked towards the monkey, and smiled kindly. Although the green monkey was immobilized by Yu did not exert much force, so it recovered quickly, let out a naughty laugh, jumped up all of a sudden, jumped onto Lilia's head, and hit Lilia's head with a wooden stick. Ouch. It hurts. Lilia cried out in pain. But the green monkey laughed even more happily, and suddenly jumped towards Xiaoxu, intending to hit her with a stick, and then jump onto Yu's boat and leave. This was its original plan. But it didn't expect to be suddenly stopped by Yu. But it doesn't matter, it can still fight. But this time, before hitting Xiaoxu, Yu threw a huge shadow ball and hit the green monkey head on, throwing it heavily to the ground, knocking it unconscious, and covered in injuries. One accident, twice. Do you think I'm dead? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 217, Kajiro and the Knocking Monkey. What kind of Pokémon is this? Lily touched her head and looked at the monkey. Knock knock, a grass type Pokémon from the Galar region, and similar to the Bulbasaur from the Alola region. Our Bulbasaur has a similar status, Yu said. Why is it here? Lily asked curiously. The Galar region and the Johto region are not close. I don't know, maybe it came here with its trainer, or maybe it's because it's too naughty and came here across the ocean. Yu said, the Pokémons have relatively superior living abilities, and it's unlikely that they will change regions on a large scale, but it's normal for one or two to come here occasionally. Then what should we do? Leave it alone. Lily said, although she was beaten innocently, she still subconsciously wanted to help when she saw the Pokémon. Call the police and let Miss Junsha handle it. Whether it's finding its trainer or taking care of it, she is the most suitable. Use official forces when you can, and if you are undecided, find the police sister, Yu said. That's right. Lily nodded and roughly decided on the handling of Knock Knock. Boss, you're finally here. But before calling the police, 3 excited voices rang out, and Yu saw 3 guys rushing towards him at the same time. Yu was startled and quickly used his ghost power to freeze the 3 people and said, if you have something to say, just say it. Don't always flatter me. Okay. Musashi, Kachiro, and Meowth barked like lackeys. Yu stopped controlling them and said, is everything solved? It's solved. We have completely made up for the mistakes we made in the past. Kajiro vowed. That's right. Anyway, before we met the little devil, the main thing we did was stealing things, and we just need to pay back the money. We also tried our best to make up for the rest of the Pokémon we stole. Anyway, we didn't do much in total. Meow. Meowth looked proud. I'm still proud. How was it with Xiaozi recently? Yu said. We fought him for hundreds of rounds again, and then I successfully caught Pikachu several times. What happened in the end? Yu asked. Don't tell me the process, tell me the result. In the end, we failed every time, and we flew into the sky every time. Meow. Meow put his hands on his hips and said the most cowardly words with an expression of I'm awesome. Yu nodded. Sure enough, this is you. Okay, let's send it like this. Next, you go to the Hone area and search for ancient ruins and super evolution stones for me, Yu said. Don't you have to follow the little devil anymore? Musashi said. No, at least not for now, Yu said. Don't chase the little devil. Musashi and the other two showed a relieved expression. In this way, they will never be hit by 100,000 volts. and fly into the sky again, but they feel a little lost for no reason. Just stop chasing. Go to Hone and work for me. If you find a super evolution stone or an evolution keystone, I will give you a satisfactory bonus. In addition, during the search process, as long as you don't harm others, I will let you do whatever you want. For example, I can pretend that I didn't see anything about participating in the gorgeous competition. Yu said. I can still participate in the gorgeous competition. Musash's expression was ecstatic, and his eyes were shining when he looked at Yu. This is a good boss. Sasaki died well. Okay. Yu nodded. By the way, what kind of Pokémon is this monkey? Why is it injured? Kajiro saw the knocking monkey on the side and said. The knocking monkey suddenly jumped out and wanted to attack us, and then I beat him up. Yu said. What? Dare to attack the boss? Musash's eyes widened, and he looked at the knocking monkey with murderous intent. Do you want me to be unable to become famous by touching my sponsor at this time? Looking at Musash's terrifying face, even though the knocking monkey was as naughty and bold, he couldn't help but curl up his body after being beaten by Yu. Musashi, don't be so fierce. The boss is fine. It's mainly the monkey. It seems to be injured. Kajiro thought for a while, took out a bag of biscuits from his pocket, and said to the knocking monkey, are you hungry? The knocking monkey looked at Kajiro and hesitated, then quickly ate Kajiro's biscuits. A monkey ran out. It was a little hungry. Do you want to raise one? Yu looked at Kajiro and said, no, I just feel sorry for it. It's not my favorite. I like my first love Pokémon Windchime. Kajiro said. First love? Isn't your first love Lumigia? Yu said. No, my first love is Windchime. When I was a kid, I saw someone selling Windchime at the market and wanted to buy it, but I didn't have money at that time. I finally saved enough money, but the market was over, and Windchime was gone. Kajiro said. Then why didn't you borrow it from me? Yu said. I have money. At that time, you were only 1 month old and still wet your pants. Kajiro said. Just pretend I didn't say anything. Yu looked a little embarrassed and changed the subject. There are more wind chimes near Inner City in the Hone region. When you go to the Hone region, you can try to catch one. There are in the Hone region. Kajiro suddenly became energetic and decided that he would go to the Hone region anyway. Seeing Kajiro's excitement, the knocking monkey suddenly became unhappy, jumped up, and hit Kajiro's head with the stick again. Kajiro cried out in pain repeatedly, and Yu couldn't bear to watch. A shadow ball condensed in his hand, and was about to throw it out. Although Kajiro often deserved a beating, he was also his cousin, and not everyone could bully him. But before he threw it out, Zyadaxu suddenly held Yu's hand and said, that knocking monkey should still be very young, don't be too rough. It's because it's young that it needs to be educated. Yu said, naughty children are spoiled. But monkey Pokémon are basically more naughty. If they are too rough, they will only turn good into bad. Like now, it's okay. Zyadaxu said. Yu looked at the knocking monkey that was held in Kajiro's arms again and said nothing. He could only sigh that he was unlucky, walk to the police station, and ask Miss Junsha to call the police. Then, Yu witnessed the legendary passing the buck. When they arrived at the police station, Miss Junsha was not there. She went to Silver Mountain to maintain order. The remaining police said that they had registered, but they were not responsible for the accommodation of Knock Monkey. They asked Yu and others to take Knock Monkey to the Pokémon Center. When they arrived at the Pokémon Center, Miss Joy from the Pokémon Center also went to Silver Mountain, so there was a shortage of staff and the rooms were full. The only use was that they knew that Knock Monkey had a trainer because it could not be captured with a Pokéball. Then they begged Yu and others to take care of it. The people at the Pokémon Center contacted the trainer of Knock Monkey. Or, let's take care of it first, Zyadaxu suggested. Yu glanced at Zyadaxu and didn't say much. If it was him, he would just leave it here and let it do whatever it wanted. But since it was Zyadaxu who said so, it had nothing to do with Zyadaxu taking care of it. They rented a hotel casually and took a rest for a while. In the evening, all the Pokémon were released and enjoyed food. Knock Monkey, eat. Zyadaxu handed a bowl of Pokémon food to Knock Monkey. The The knocking monkey looked at the food that Zyaksu handed over, looked at it with some suspicion, and then began to eat without a care in the world. After taking the first bite, it immediately felt the deliciousness of the world and ate it with great enthusiasm. Not satisfied with finishing the food in its own bowl, it also pounced on the food in Eevee's bowl. Eevee was stunned for a moment. As the team's favorite, it had never suffered such an injustice before, and immediately angrily accused the knocking monkey. But the knocking monkey ignored it at all, licked the food with one tongue, then arrogantly overturned the bowl and turned away. Eevee jumped up suddenly, and a ball of energy condensed in its mouth, and violently hit the knocking monkey. The knocking monkey jumped flexibly, and dodged it at once, and even made a provocative gesture to Eevee. Eevee was immediately furious, and rushed forward, and suddenly came in front of the knocking monkey, with a speed beyond the imagination of the knocking monkey. The knocking monkey stayed there for a moment, and then was knocked to the ground by Eevee's claws. Are you kidding? Although Eevee hasn't evolved yet, it has reached the elite level with Yu's training. This knock monkey is just a beginner, or at most an intermediate. How can he beat it? Knock monkey looked pitiful, but no Pokémon paid any attention to him. Why grab Eevees when there are so many other things to grab? The group pet, you think you can bully him? Chapter 218, the knocking monkey belongs to Zyaheo? It's almost time, let's go to Silver Mountain, Yu said. Originally, after coming here, he planned to take Zyaksu and Lily to play in Yanmo City for a few days, and then go to Silver Mountain to watch the Silver Tournament. But he met Knockman, and it took him a few more days to wait for Knockman's trainer. Now the Silver Tournament is about to start, and he has to go. But we haven't found a trainer for Knockman yet, Kajiro said. Then, you continue to take care of it until you find a trainer. And I see it's quite clingy to you. Yu said, it's not okay not to cling to it. Eevee is the favorite of the team, and has a good relationship with Lily's white roller. Bullying Eevee means offending the whole team. Musashi and Meowth are now trying their best to please Yu, the boss. If Yu's Pokémon don't like it, they certainly won't take care of it. After all, to them, Pokémon that are not their own are not Pokémon. Only Kajiro, who is kind-hearted, and after all, they are cousins, and are not afraid of Yu, so he will take care of it. If someone who doesn't know the situation now sees this, they will definitely think that Kajiro is the trainer of Knock Monkey. Is it possible? How can the trainer of Knock Monkey find us? Kajiro said. Ms. Junsha and the others have announced it. Technology is so advanced now. I left your contact information and they will definitely find you, Yu said. Kajiro nodded in realization, and looked at Knock Monkey and said, Knock Monkey, let's spend some more time together. Knock Monkey made a joyful sound, then jumped up and excitedly knocked Kajiro's head with a small wooden stick. Okay, be gentle. Kajiro shouted helplessly. It's okay that a Venus flytrap likes to eat my head. When I went to Alala, I met a good and bad star who liked to wrap my head and poisoned me. Now I met Knock Monkey, and liked to knock his head. What's wrong with his head? It's not a treasure. It can't be sold for money. Knock Monkey was overjoyed and very happy. Although Yu and the others were not good to it, Kajiro really liked it, and it also liked this kind of love. Let's go, Yu said, preparing to leave. Excuse me, is the Knock Monkey here? At this time, a voice suddenly sounded. Yu raised his eyebrows and looked at Kajiro pitifully. The feelings that he had cultivated with great difficulty seemed to be useless. The helpless expression on Kajiro's face also became a little depressed, but there was no way. He had to pay it back. Everyone went out together, and the person who appeared surprised Yu a little. Zyaheo. Yu looked at the boy in front of him. Yes, he had dark skin, ordinary looks, and was carrying a school bag. He was Zyaheo, who was almost beaten to death by Mewtwo on Sinnoh Island. However, compared with that time, Zyaheo is a little different now. The last time they met, there was no Pokémon, but now there is a rabbit Pokémon around him. Looking arrogant, with fire flashing in his mouth, he is a fire Pokémon at a glance. It's you? You picked up my Knock Monkey? Zyaheo looked at Yu, and said with resistance on his face. That time he was beaten by Mewtwo, and stayed in the hospital was forever unforgettable for him. You are Knock Mouse's trainer. Knock Mouse is back to you. Remember to treat him well in the future and don't let it get lost alone again. Kojiro held Knock Mouse and handed it to Zaoheo with a little reluctance. I know, it's none of your business, I'm its trainer. Zaoheo took the Pokeball and took Knock Mouse back. If it was someone else, he would say thank you, but Kojiro was an exception, because Kojiro was Yuu's friend, and he hated Kojiro for taking his anger out on him. Hey, you are so rude. Kojiro took care of your Pokémon, and you don't even know how to thank him? You are more of a villain than your sister was before. Musashi said dissatisfiedly. Kojiro was someone that only she and Meowth could bully. What do you care? Zaoheo looked at Mewtwo, who was floating on the side with an arrogant face. Mewtwo, are you related to Mewtwo? I want to subdue Mewtwo. I can subdue you. Do you know you? I don't care about the fact that you knocked me out last time. Mewtwo's eyes flashed with blue light, and after a while he looked at Yu and said, can I kill him? Yu looked around, people coming and going, shook his head and said, there are too many people. No. Mewtwo turned his head with a little dissatisfaction. Then, Yu waved his hand, knocked Zaoheo away, and threw him dozens of meters away, saying, I'm a law-abiding citizen. If you have no attachment to this world, just find a place to jump down. Don't come to me, otherwise it won't be so easy next time. After that, Yu turned and left. Here, there are many people and cameras, which has a bad influence. If I sneak back in the middle of the night, it will be too troublesome, and Zaoheo is not worth it. This person is really annoying. Lilia walked to Yu and said with rare disgust, there's nothing we can do. There are always many extreme and weird people in this world. We can't understand everyone's thinking. If we understand, then we will be the kind of scum. Yu said. Moreover, in the previous life, it seems that some people like such a disgusting character. It can only be said that people's thoughts are naturally different. He is more like a villain than us. He is a seedling of Team Rocket. It's a pity that Team Rocket has disbanded. Meow. Meow walked over and complained. Only Kojiro looked at the taken back Knocking Monkey with a reluctant expression on his face. With such a trainer, will Knocking Monkey's life be good? I hope so. Kojiro walked to the station, still a little absent-minded. Knock knock faintly. Kojiro heard the voice of Knocking Monkey and showed a self-deprecating smile. Why did he hear it? Kojiro shook his head and continued to walk forward. Then he felt a familiar pain on his head. Kojiro was suddenly surprised and looked up to see a familiar monkey face. He quickly picked up the Knocking Monkey and said, Knocking Monkey, why are you here? The Knocking Monkey shouted with joy, dancing with joy. Knocking Monkey, it said that your head knocking has a sense of rhythm, Zaoheo, so it likes you and decided to follow you and doesn't want to leave. Meow. The gold medal translator. Meow. Translated online. Don't want to leave, follow me. Zaoheo looked at the Knocking Monkey in surprise. The Knocking Monkey nodded repeatedly. Then boss, this doesn't count as stealing other people's Pokémon. Zaoheo said. Pokémon has the right to choose its own trainer. This is its choice, so it doesn't count. Yu said that Pokémon and trainers have a relationship of mutual choice, not blindly being chosen. Although most Pokémon regard their trainers as their only ones, and their trainers abuse them thousands of times, they still treat their trainers as their first love. But they still have their own right to choose. Like Pikachu, if it didn't like Zaozi, it would have run away long ago. There was also Zaozi's Unova snake, which really ran away. Carlos's Shrug was similar, just not obedient, and forced the trainer to retreat. It was just a little troublesome without the Pokeball, but it didn't matter anyway. It didn't matter if Kojiro's group of Pokémon didn't score. Wait, this is my Pokémon. Zaoheo ran over again and said, picking up the Pokeball, and wanted to take back Knockback, but Knockback dodged in various ways, jumping flexibly and dodging perfectly. Yu frowned slightly. If he had known earlier, he would have hit harder and knocked it out. But it doesn't like you at all. Musashi said. Then I'm also its trainer. Zaoheo said. Knockback shouted dissatisfiedly. No, you didn't. Knockback said that you never trained it. After you captured it, you didn't do anything. And if it hadn't fallen asleep, you wouldn't have captured it. Meowed. Then come back. You are stealing other people's Pokémon. Zairoheo said. Knock knock. Knock Monkey saw Zairoheo pick up the Pokeball again and wanted to take it back. He was immediately furious and swung the wooden stick in his hand, hitting Zairoheo's Pokeball like a boomerang. With a crisp click, Zairoheo's Pokeball broke directly. Then Knock Monkey ran over and crushed the Pokeball with one foot. Chapter 219 Brother-in-law. It seems that this knocking monkey really doesn't like you. Yu looked at Zairoheo and said. How could it be? Zairoheo looked at the smashed Pokeball, full of shock. Pokémon can also break Pokeballs. And also hate him. Yu ignored him and went straight into the train to Silver Mountain. Kajiro and his friends also entered one after another, leaving Zairoheo alone, doubting his life. Kajiro was overjoyed to find the knocking monkey back. Yu couldn't help shaking his head. Including the knocking monkey, there are only 4 Pokémon in total. As a result, except for the double bomb gas, they all have a special liking for your head. Is one head enough? If you go to Hone and conquer Desert Nadia, you can play Magic on your head. Sasaki sighed in his heart, and suddenly a red light ran out of Musashi's Pokeball, and a goblin jumped out and saluted in a standard way. What are you doing out here? Yu looked at Musashi's goblin with a smile. I didn't say anything, but you can still read my heart. Sonasi Rananang continued to salute regardless of what Yu said. Yu smiled and touched Rananang's head. It was really a fate destined by heaven. Although many deviations occurred, Musashi still managed to subdue Rananang by accident. This big guy, whose appearance rate is second only to Pikachu and Meowth, is affectionately called the god of fruit by the audience. At his peak performance, he can rebound a blow from Giratina. Sonasi Rananang continued to call. Although he and Yu were talking at cross purposes, they had a very pleasant chat. In a cheerful atmosphere, Yu and his party finally arrived at Silver Mountain, the venue of the Johto Alliance Silver Conference. Lily. As soon as they got off the car, they saw Gladian and the Silver Companion waiting. Brother Gladian. Lily saw Gladian and jumped over with joy. Holding his sister whom he hadn't seen for a long time, Gladian subconsciously showed a ripple of smile on his face, but soon noticed Yu. His expression turned serious and cold. You are here too? Of course. After all, I recommended you to challenge the Johto League, so of course I have to come and see. How is it? The challenge of the Johto League is interesting, right? Yu said. Very impressive. The gym trainers in each region are very powerful, especially Mr. Liubo of Kajichum and Miss Zyrozuan of Shenglang Gym. Gladian said solemnly, after challenging these gyms, some of his previous trips were not enough. They are both unique trainers. Yu said, Zyrozuan is Du's sister, a member of the Yulan family, who has received higher education since childhood, and of course has extraordinary strength. As for Liubo, he is the former Ice King of Johto, and it may not be the real strength. Although this world is mainly an animation worldview, it does not rule out the addition of other element. In the special episode, Liubo defeated the Phoenix King twice, but in the end, I won. Gladian said proudly. Okay, brother-in-law, you are right. Yu said, I won't argue with you, whatever you say is right. What did you say? Gladian's face suddenly changed, and he immediately protected Lilia behind him, looking at Yu with murderous intent. Lilia hid behind Gladian, her cheeks flushed. Kajiro and Musashi's expression suddenly changed, and they looked like gossips. Zyrox's expression was slightly stunned. When did it happen? A slip of the tongue, do you believe it? Yu's expression was slightly embarrassed. Some words were so common that he couldn't change them all of a sudden. Gladian's nickname is brother-in-law. First, a group of netizens are mean and covet Lilia's body. Second, playing memes in moderation is good for the body and mind. Third, Gladian has trouble typing, unlike brother-in-law, who can do it with 3 letters DJZ. Gladian looked at Yu sharply, and he didn't believe a word of it. The atmosphere gradually became weird, and finally Lilia was taken away by Gladian. Although this so-called taking away was actually just taking her to the next door. After all, there are only so many places to stay. But you have to look like you are doing it. Yu looked helpless. It was really unintentional. Although he was a beast, Lily was also very pretty, and the humans in this world were even more weird, having developed very well at the age of 12, but he really had no idea about Lily. He was only 12 years old. Yu was a beast, not an animal. And more importantly, there was an animal who was worse than a beast, educating him seriously. Xiao, you have finally grown up and know how to find a girlfriend. Our Sasaki family will also rely on you to prosper. Remember when you were so small, a small ball, I held you in my arms. I didn't expect that you can find a girlfriend now. Not enough, just a little small. It's okay, you are also very young. Wait another 2 years, and we will get married. Looking at Zyajiro, who seemed to be possessed by his mother, Yuyu's forehead veins popped up, and he looked at Musashi and said, drag Zyajiro out for me, change into women's clothes, take 100 photos in a row, and I will pay you. Take pictures, pay you. Musashi and Mayomio were excited, each with 1 foot, and forcibly dragged Zyajiro out. Bonus, I want half. Zyajiro shouted loudly. Others' first reaction to such things is to refuse, struggle, or even roar. But is Zyajiro someone else? Obviously not. He is Zyro Crossdressajiro, wearing women's clothes. Can this be called a thing? When he and Musashi go out for cosplay, he always wears women's clothes, and Musashi wears men's clothes. Okay. If this can be exchanged for money, he will take 1,000 photos. As for the face? Haha, do I, Kajiro, have such a thing? That's mine. Musashi punched Kajiro on the head domineeringly. Kajiro's things are her things, and the money is all hers. Listening to Kajiro's weak voice, Yu showed a hint of joy on his face. Comfortable. But this comfort did not last long. Zyaksu suddenly smiled playfully and said, when did you fall in love with Lily? Huh? Yu stopped abruptly, looked at Zyaksu and said, when did you become so gossipy? Don't you know that girls are all a little gossipy? Besides, you and Lily are both my best friends. But I didn't realize that you fell in love with Lily. Zyaksu said. Do you like Lilia? Yu wanted to explain, but in the end he found it troublesome to explain. If he didn't explain and was laughed at, it would be even more troublesome. There were troubles everywhere. Yu saw the wall next to him and suddenly raised his eyebrows. A wicked smile appeared on his face, and his eyes fell on Zyaksu's exquisite body. Zyaksu's face was slightly tense, and she subconsciously felt a little unnatural. Zyaksu, actually I don't like Lalita, I prefer Royal's sister. Yu said, this is the truth. He has liked Royal's sister since he was a child. Compared with Lilia, the gentle and mature Zyaksu is indeed more to his taste. Royal's sister? Zyaksu's white cheeks flushed. Although there is no such word in this place, she understands sister, and she is older than Yu. Could it be that Yu likes me? Before Zyaksu could react, Yu suddenly pounced on her. Zyaksu subconsciously retreated, and with a bang, she was directly forced into the corner. Yu pressed the wall with one hand, and looked directly at Zyaksu. The two were so close that they could feel each other's breathing. Zyaksu's heart subconsciously beat violently. Seeing Zyaksu, who was always generous and gentle, like a frightened white rabbit, Yu couldn't help but curl up her lips slightly. She finally understood why so many overbearing CEOs in idol dramas like to do wall dang. It turned out to be really interesting. The only pity was that she was the same height as Zyaksu, so there was no strong visual touch. But it was okay. If it was a year earlier, she would not be as tall as Zyaksu. Chapter 220. Another movie. The contestants entered the venue, and the silver conference was officially held. Yu occupied a VIP seat, but his expression was a little lonely. What's wrong? Such a sad expression? Dr. Oak's voice sounded. Grandpa Oak is here. Yu looked up and glanced at Dr. Oak and Zyro Mao, who hadn't seen for a long time, and said weakly, what's wrong? Are you really hit? Dr. Oak said in surprise. What hit you? Tell me quickly, and make me happy. Zyro Mao said. Go away. Although he was a little depressed, Yu still said to Zyro Mao without thinking. What's wrong? Are you unhappy and sad? It's okay. Say it out, and share it with everyone. Even if it can't relieve your pain, at least it can make me happy. Yu disliked it, but Xiaomao sat next to Yu very naturally and was very affectionate. Yu stared at Xiaomao, not wanting to say more. In the past, although he didn't have a girlfriend, at least he was a girl on both sides. But now, there is no one, and they have become a pair of grandfather and grandson. With this difference, how can Yu not want to cry? Moreover, even the Pokémon didn't want Yu anymore. After Xiaoxu realized that Yu had fooled her, she got angry and went with Lily. Then, when it came to the choice between food and trainer, Yu's Pokémon abandoned Yu without hesitation. Even Raichu and Eevee, who always pestered Yu, were no exception. Every night, after dinner, he would come back to accompany Yu to sleep. Yu seemed to be a ruthless sleeping machine. Seeing Yu depressed, Xiaomao was particularly happy and chatted with Yu happily. In his life, apart from the fun of Pokémon, the only thing that could make him happy was mocking Yu and Xiaoxi. Yu took a deep breath, then forced a smile and said, Xiaomao, do you know? I'm in SYNOPSIS participating in the Champions League. The participants are all powerful trainers from all over the world. They have all won the championship of the regional conference. Do you know how powerful they are? The smug expression on Xiaomao's face froze for a moment. That's right, Xiaomao, you can't participate in the Champions League yet. Yu said, as if he had suddenly realized something, but his acting was as poor as ever, and anyone could tell that he was acting. Xiaomao clenched his fists. The trainers participating in the competition are really amazing, like Wusong and the others. They are all, and they are still the 4 Heavenly Kings. I'm useless. I just made it to the semi-finals, which means I can challenge the level of the 4 Heavenly Kings, but it's useless at all. Yu sighed, took Xiaomao's shoulder and said, Xiaomao, do you think I'm too bad? I just made it to the semi-finals. Xiaomao's face fell completely. You are in the semi-finals of the Champions League. Too bad. I didn't even make it to the Champions League. I shouldn't have come. Professor Oak looked at Yu and Xiaomao playing, with a kind smile on his face. It's good to be young. Time passed slowly, and suddenly a ball of fire ignited in the center of the venue, burning fiercely, and it seemed that there was a breath of life in it. Unique. This is the legendary flame of the King of Phoenix. So special. Xiaomao looked at the flame in surprise. That's all. Yu didn't care much. He had seen so many mythical beasts, so it was just like that. Lugia, who was as famous as the Phoenix King, he saw it every day and even plucked its hair. Watch it carefully, it will be interesting next. Professor Oak said. What's the point? Isn't it the same every year, just setting a fire? Yu said, even if it was the fire of the Phoenix King, it was not very interesting to watch. It will be different this year. Professor Oak said. Seeing Professor Oak's confident expression, Yu realized that something was wrong and continued to watch curiously. Then, a 3-dimensional image appeared in the air, and then the narration voice appeared. Is this a movie? Yu looked at Professor Oak. When can movies be shown at the opening ceremony of the league conference? Why are you so surprised? You are the first one. Everything is difficult at the beginning, but once you start, there will be 2. The Champions League can show movies, let alone the regional conference? Professor Oak smiled kindly. The Champions League shows movies, and that's what I paid a great price for. Yu said. Then I paid a great price for showing movies. Professor Oak said. It's you? Yu looked at Professor Oak in surprise. Why? Want to know? Then agree to one more condition for me. Professor Oak said. What condition? Yu said. Simple, a best of 3 exhibition match with the champion of this tournament. Professor Oak said. An exhibition match with the champion of this tournament, no problem. But why? I have a feeling that you have already determined who will be the champion. Yu said. Not sure, just guessing, just agree or not. Professor Oak smiled. No problem. What is your price? Yu agreed without thinking. A game. It doesn't matter. There is no price, because the person who let us make the movie is the person that Damelan Key and I recognize, and he will be the one who will lead the Kanto and Johto alliances with you in the future. Professor Oak said. With me? Yu frowned slightly, and continued to watch the movie without saying a word. In terms of content, there is nothing much. The whole movie is a eulogy to the Phoenix King. how great the Phoenix King is, how powerful, clear the dark forces, and save the world. From the plot point of view, there are no twists and turns. The viewing value is average, but the special effects are good, and it is obvious that a lot of money has been spent, and some things have been preliminarily determined. Making a movie by yourself and playing it in the Champions League is nothing more than Forger Ratana. Now, this movie, Ho-Oh is Invincible, is naturally funded by Ho-Oh. Unexpectedly, Ho-Oh would do such a thing. Could it be that he watched his own movie? But Ho-Oh will not communicate directly with the league. He should choose an agent. That is, the person that Grandpa Oak thinks will become the champion. And this person has a good relationship with Grandpa Oak. Otherwise, Grandpa Oak's tone would not be this attitude. It is completely a love for the younger generation. It feels almost the same as for himself. Wait, almost the same for me? Yu's mind was shocked. Although Grandpa Oak loves the younger generation, he is always special to him. The only one who can be similar to him is Professor Oak's grandson Xiaomao. Since they are relatives, the relationship is naturally better. There is also Xiaozi, who is slightly worse, but not much different. The three people are almost at the same level. Moreover, the only time the photographer Ho-Oh appeared in person in the anime was when he met Satoshi. If he were Ho-Oh, who would he choose as a spokesperson? Yu had a vague answer in his mind, but when he thought of what Professor Oak said about leading the alliance with him, he shook his head violently and threw away this ridiculous idea. How is it possible? If the alliance is given to Satoshi, there is still hope for the alliance? Satoshi in the meeting suddenly sneezed and looked around blankly. What happened? I always feel like someone is talking about me. Chapter 221 Eternal Super Evolution Y Spray. The Silver Tournament Finals officially begins. This tournament is wonderful. After a fierce battle, it has finally come to an end. The players participating in the competition are Xiaozi from Pallet Town in Kanto and Gladian from the distant Alola Islands. The champion of this tournament will be born between the two of them. Who will be better? Let's wait and see. Silver Mountain, the main venue of the Silver Tournament, the commentator passionately explained, and the audience was excited. Xiaozi and Gladian walked out and looked at each other. They both saw a strong desire to fight in each other's eyes. Gladian, it's finally time. Let's have a game without regrets, Xiaozi said. Although he and Gladian didn't know each other in Alola, after Gladian came to Johto, they had people they knew in common and quickly became familiar with each other. They were friends who got along well. Let's have a battle without regrets. Whoever wins will challenge Yu. Gladian said. That's right, challenge Yu. The flame of fighting spirit in Xiaozi's eyes burned to the extreme. He was confident that he could defeat Yu this time. Come out, Lycanroc. It's decided to be you, Pikachu. The two Pokémon were released at the same time, and the lightning and rock power crisscrossed the field, and the tyrannical power competed to burst out. The training methods of these two people are very different, Xiaomao in the audience said. Although he didn't want to admit it, the strength of the two people on the field was no weaker than him, with their own distinctive styles. But now there are only these two people left in the game. Grandpa Oak, can you tell me what happened to Xiaozi? Yu said. Although Yu still can't believe it now, Xiaozi was highly expected by Professor Oak to support the alliance. But excluding all impossibilities, the remaining ones, no matter how incredible, are the truth. Only Xiaozi and Gladian are left. It's definitely not Gladian, then it can only be Xiaozi. And if Xiaozi really gets the recognition of the King of Phoenix, then in addition to being a little bit brainless, Xiaozi really meets all the conditions. Sincere and kind, love every Pokémon, no big family behind, poor family, all meet the conditions of the successor to the president of the alliance. Moreover, he is only 12 years old, which is the best time to teach. If we put aside the dark history of Unova, Xiaozi has grown a lot in every part of his mind, and maybe the alliance will really bet on him. Be patient, it's time to keep watching. Professor Oak smiled in an unfathomable way. Grandpa, Yu, what do you mean? What are you telling me? What's wrong with Xiaozi? Xiaomao said with a confused look on his face. Why can't I understand what you say? I ask you, what is Xiaozi's trump card in the Kanto Quartz Conference? Yu asked. Charizard. Xiaomao blurted out, "Do you need to think about it?" But after he finished speaking, Xiaomao's expression changed all of a sudden. So far in the game, Xiaozi has never sent out his Charizard. You won't tell me? Xiaozi hides his strength? How is it possible? Xiaozi doesn't have the brain to do this. Besides, hiding his strength at this time, aren't you afraid of losing? Xiaomao said. No, but if someone teaches, it's hard to say. And more importantly, even if Xiaozi doesn't use Charizard, Pikachu who knows Z moves and Snorlax, haven't they been stopped by anyone until now? Yu said. I think it's more likely that Xiaozi's Charizard encountered something. Xiaomao said. Maybe. Yu's eyes were deep. Charizard is fire and flying, and Ho-Oh is also fire and flying. And Ho-Oh is much more professional than Giratina in transformation. The three sacred beasts were created by Ho-Oh to bring life back to life. Ho-Oh, who has the ability to bring life back to life, is not an exaggeration to say that he is the god of life. If Xiaozi really gets the recognition of Ho-Oh, then Charizard's strength will definitely not be worse than Jenga without super evolution. In other words, it's the King of Heaven level. You watch the game seriously. Xiaozi and Gladian both fought with all their strength, without the slightest mercy. Gladian's Linoop is luxurious, including Lycanroc, Luna, Zoroark, Zubat, Shakira, and finally the mythical beast, Silvermit. Although there are no main forces at the level of the king, they can basically slaughter those below the king. Xiaozi finally used his brain. Pikachu, the god of skin, Heracross, the old uncle of the Cold Palace, Bulbasaur, the military advisor, Night Owl, and the invincible glutton Snorlax. In a fierce battle, Gladian cleverly replaced Pokémon, replaced Silvermit with a fighting attribute, and defeated Xiaozi's Snorlax. Xiaozi only had one Pokémon left, while Gladian still had two, Silvermit and Shakira. Although they were injured, their strength was still there. Yu stared at Xiaozi's hand, and the doubts could be solved. Charizard, it's you who's chosen in the end. Xiaozi took out the Pokéball, a red light flashed, and an orange-red dragon flew out. It looked different from the ordinary Charizard, with a thinner body and larger wings. What was particularly noticeable was that it had a third horn behind its head, and two arms had something like small wings. Yu stood up, his eyes wide open, his face full of shock. He couldn't believe it. There was no evolution stone, no sequential brewing, and it wasn't a bond evolution, it was an eternal evolution. What is this Pokémon of Xiaozi? Is it Charizard? Why is it different from other Charizards? Is it a special Pokémon? The commentator was also stunned, and it took him a long time to react and explain. What is this? Super evolution? But shouldn't Charizard's super evolution turn into blue? How could it be like this? There is also a process of change. Even in the Yao Champion League, there is a process of change. Xiaomao couldn't believe it, and his eyes almost popped out. This is the surprise you prepared. Yu looked at Professor Oak and said, it's really big enough. Eternal super evolution. This false proposition that only appears in novels has been born in reality. Or in Xiaozi, an outdated protagonist who even the official wants to abandon and make him a background tool. Hasn't Xiaozi always been a tool that is stepped on in front of the time traveler? Who can tell me what happened? Eternal super evolution. Y spray. Fire and flying dual attributes. The characteristic changes to drought. When it appears, the weather automatically turns to sunny, and the power of fire type special moves is greatly improved. No wonder Kajero also has the 3 starters. It turns out that the protagonist is super god. If the real protagonist does not strengthen a wave, he will not even be qualified to snatch Pikachu. Flame Vortex. Xiaozi ordered, and the Charizard in the sky roared, and a scorching and domineering flame storm spewed out from the air, dozens of meters high, connecting the sky, and instantly trapped the Silver Companion Beast in it. The flames dissipated, and the Silver Companion Beast fell down. Chapter 222. Xiaozi, it must. Shakira loses the ability to fight. Xiaozi wins the final victory. He becomes the champion of this conference, and will be awarded by President Damalanchi. At the same time, 3 days later, there will be an exhibition match between Xiaozi, the champion of this conference, and Master Yu, the champion of the previous Kanto Quartz conference, and one of the top 4 masters of the Champions League. Please look forward to it. With the commentator's sister's words, the silver conference temporarily ended. Seeing Zyossi standing on the podium happily, Yu had a complicated expression. He really didn't expect that something that he could only see in his lifetime would happen so soon. Zyossi won the championship in Johto. Such an incredible thing happened right in front of him. Zyumeo's expression was even more complicated. Yu was fine, but why am I not as good as Zyossi? Why is the Mega Evolution Stone that I found with great difficulty in Kalos not fragrant at all now? Okay, now you can ask me any questions you have. Professor Oak looked at Yu and said, is there anything else I need to ask? Yu asked back with a smile, then stood up and walked towards Zyossi. Some minor details are no longer important. You can guess them. For more in-depth information, it is better to go directly to Zyossi to ask him clearly. Why ask a third party? Stinky boy. Professor Oak scolded with a smile. I'm also a champion. Zyossi, holding the championship trophy, saw Yu coming and walked over happily to show off. Yes, you are the champion. Keep happy. When you are happy enough, I will ask you again. Yu said with a little reluctance. He admitted that he was jealous. Eternal super evolution. He didn't have it. Even if Zyossi became the messenger of the Phoenix King, I was obviously the first person to become the younger brother of the legendary beast. As a result, eternal super evolution? Fixed form Y spray. Jealousy made me unrecognizable. No, I can tell you anything you want to ask me. Good things should be shared. This is what Alola taught me. Zyossi said excitedly. You met the Phoenix King. Yu said straight to the point. You know it too? Zyossi said. I think it's hard not to know your Charizard. Yu said. Yes, how did you get the recognition of the King of Phoenix? Zyomao said. The Johto Lingling lineage has been chasing for hundreds of years without success. How did you do it? What is better than me? Jealousy made Yu unrecognizable, and Zyomao was directly separated from the body. I don't know either. I saw it on the first day of my trip. Then, one day, I traveled to a forest with Zyugang and Zyuksha, and I got lost again. Yu nodded. Basic operation. Normal. Then, I saw a blue Pokémon called Suicune. At that time, I didn't know its name. It was the first Pokémon I met when I traveled in Johto. I saw it in the fog in the forest and wanted to chase it, so this time I saw it, I chased it again. Zyossi recalled his experience. Zyomao took a deep breath, turned his head away, and forced himself not to look at Zyossi. He was afraid that, if he looked at it again, he would hit someone. On the first day of the Kanto trip, I saw the King of Phoenix. On the first day of the Johto trip, I saw Suicune. Are you going to heaven? Or are you the illegitimate child of mythical beast? I traveled with you and went to one more place than you did. Until now, I have not met a single mythical beast. Then, I met the Ho-Oh, and it asked me to be its messenger to help it see the world and see if the humans in this world are still worth staying. I don't know what happened, but I think humans and Pokémon should be friends, and we should let Pokémon trust us, so I agreed to be its messenger. I want to tell it that we can be trusted. Zyossi said. Yeah. The logic is valid and reasonable. So how did Charizard fix itself in this form? Yu said. This is the key he wants to know. The Ho-Oh recognized Zyossi, which was incredible to Zyomao, but to Yu, this was a fixed cognition. Arceus recognized it, so what's wrong with the Ho-Oh? If it weren't for me, Zyossi could even ride Lugia, the old friend of the Ho-Oh. Take it with fire. Zyossi said. Yu was confused. Take it with fire. It's a good thing that Charizard is a fire Pokémon, otherwise it would be burned to death. Yes, it said this is a gift for me. I said no, but it insisted on giving it to me. I thought it was difficult to refuse, so I took it. Zyossi said. I said no, but it insisted on giving it to me. Hearing this plain and unpretentious sentence, Zyumeo's body trembled slightly. He really couldn't help it. You don't want it, but it insisted on giving it to you? Zyossi, act like a human being. If he didn't want to hear the details, he would run away now. It's too exciting. Thinking about him, Demumao has done nothing wrong in his life, except having a few more girlfriends. Why should he suffer this grievance? Originally, it was said that Pikachu was going to become stronger, but if Pikachu was burned by fire, it would change its appearance. Although it didn't evolve into Raichu, Pikachu didn't want to, so it changed to Charizard. Zyozzy continued. Can it be changed freely? Yu touched his heart and felt a little bit stuck. Although he knew that Zyozzy didn't mean to show off, he was a person who didn't mean to show off at all. When he said such words, the lethality was the greatest. I don't like money. Peking University is okay. Go to Versailles. And what about the movie? Yu said. Oh, that's another aspect. The King of Phoenix said that it watched a movie and distorted its image, so it asked me to make one too. I don't have money, but the King of Phoenix said so, and I thought about it and agreed. We can make it ourselves, or I'll ask you for help, and we can all do it together. Zyozzy said. Then you ask me. Yu said without hesitation. I'm willing to do this kind of favor. There's no problem with dozens more. But when I told Professor Oak about this, Professor Oak said that he could help me apply to the Alliance and give me some honorary encouragement. Although I don't understand, it seems that I don't need to bother you, and I don't have to spend money, and that's it. Zyozzy said. Okay, I understand. Yu nodded, then looked at Genji Ui on the side and said, take out the mirror. Genji Ui nodded, lowered his head and dug into his body, and then took out a huge mirror. Then, Yu jumped up and jumped directly into the mirror. He wants to settle accounts with someone. Why? We are all workers. The boss's strength is the same. I'm even better. To make a movie, you need to have a good story and a good sensation. Not to mention that I have to prepare food every day. As a result, the benefits are so different. Hurry up and give me a raise, otherwise I will quit. Yu flew into the reverse world and saw Giratina looking at him angrily and said, is my mega evolution done? Huh? Yu was stunned by the question. How long has it been? Have you completed the task? It's been so long since I helped you fight Mewtwo. You haven't completed it yet. Inefficient. Have you completed the performance? Giratina said. Yu was stunned. Performance? Performance? When did I have this thing? When I saved you. You were so special. I didn't expect that you haven't completed it until now. Giratina kept talking, and finally Yu went out in a daze, and even felt a little guilty. The first time they met, and the time of Mewtwo, Giratina saved it twice. Speaking of it, Yu owed it. After seeing Yu go out, the originally furious Giratina heaved a long sigh of relief and lay on the ground. It was so close, I was almost questioned by a little leaf, so embarrassed. Fortunately, the TV I watched recently worked, and it was right to strike first. However, I can fool them temporarily, but I can't fool them forever. What Ho-Oh can do, I, Giratina, can do too. I must not lose face, and I must not let Lunala have a chance. Little leaf, you are mine. Giratina's eyes flickered, and suddenly he flew up again, flying out of the reversed world. Let's find Ho-Oh first and find out. Take advantage of this time to learn the ability to make Pokémon Mega Evolve, and everything will be solved. Chapter 223 Pressure. Best of 3 games, exhibition match. Yu looked at the Pokémon in his hand and frowned slightly. The format of the final exhibition match of the league conference is not a 3-on-3 relay, but a 3-on-3, best of 3 games. This is a bit disadvantageous to Yu, because compared to Zyozzy, Yu is better at tactical matching. Zyozzy, when he is reckless, never changes Pokémon, just fights to the end, so whether it is a 3-on-3 relay or a 3-on-3 battle, it actually has little impact. In addition, it also limits the destruction of the balance by a single combat force. However, if it cannot be replaced, Absol's Destroy Song will be even more powerful. Destroy Song, See-Through, Shadow Clone, Mega Evolution, as long as it does not match Charizard, it should be able to win a game. Jenga should have no problem against Charizard. I just don't know where Charizard's limit is, but no matter what, it will definitely be worse. So I'm a little pessimistic, and it's 50-50 for now. As for the third one, I have to let Dragonite come back temporarily. Otherwise, the rest, whether it is Raichu or Flamahorse, are not sure of winning. Are you worried about the battle with Zyozzy? A cup of coffee was placed on Yu's desk, and Zyazza came over and said, "You're back." I finally don't have to be alone anymore. Yu looked at Zyaksu and said, seriously? Zyaksu said angrily. She wasn't angry at first, but it was better to live with Lily. As for Lily, if it weren't for Gladian, she would have come back long ago. Seriously, it's true. I never thought that there would be someone among my peers who could really be my opponent, and I didn't expect that this person would be Zyozzy. In my expectation, Zyozzy would not be able to reach my current level without 5 years, and after 5 years, my level would only be higher, but now fate has given me a big slap in the face. Yu said. Everything went smoothly, and he forgot that there is something called the butterfly effect. In addition to his own efforts and talent, the key to his current strength is to improve the favorability of the legendary beasts. Otherwise, Yu calculated that it would take at least 3 years to reach his current strength. And it was just to reach Dragonite's current strength. If everything went well, it would take at least 7 or 8 years, or even longer, to reach the champion level. But when it comes to gaining favorability from the legendary beasts, Zyozzy is second. Who dares to claim first place? Although Yu has skills are often not as good as talent and aura. He doesn't have any unreasonable and heaven-defying system. Being the first person to try something new, and having Giratina choose him is special. But since there is the first, there will naturally be the second and the third. And the ancestor is not necessarily the strongest. It's just that the reason is a reason, but when it really happens to him, Yu still feels a little uncomfortable. Yu is not the strongest now, and champions such as Du and Sharona are better than him, but Yu is not depressed, he is young. Those who are not in a hurry to become strong can always grow up slowly, and those few have basically reached the bottleneck. So in the challenge of the Orange League, Yu mainly takes beautiful women on a tour, supplemented by training. He can be very leisurely, but Zyozzy is different. He is the same age. Yu has something called pressure. So the more you are frustrated, the more courageous you are. Continue to become stronger, and then slap this slap back to fate. Zyaksu said. Do you think I'm such a person? Yu said. It's not what I think, but you are. The Yu I know will not lose. Zyaksu said. That's right. Although I'm not sure of winning the game the day after tomorrow, it is indeed more difficult to lose. Yu smiled casually. Although he was worried, it was more about the future, not now. Isn't it just Zyozzy? Even if he becomes Zi, I can beat him back to a full. Looking at Yu who was full of energy all of a sudden, Zyaksu put on a faint smile on her face. This is what Yu should look like. Okay, let's go eat, call Lilia, and have a good meal together. It's my treat today, Yu said. Haven't you always treated me? Aren't you going to give me food in the future? Zyaksu said. She is Yu's exclusive Pokémon breeder, and Yu is responsible for food and lodging. Oh, right. You are still my employee. Are you considered absent from work these days? We don't have a work contract, and my obligation is to take care of Pokémon, but you are not a Pokémon. It's the same. All beings are equal. I'm also half a Pokémon. Yu and Zyozzy chatted and laughed, and found Lily. Together with Gladian, the four of them had dinner together. Can Pokémon still Mega Evolve? Gladian asked at the dinner table. Yes, they can temporarily have strength beyond their original strength. The increase varies according to the strength of the Pokémon. Generally speaking, the increase is about 30%, and the attributes and characteristics may also change. Yu said. Can all Pokémon Mega Evolve? Gladian said. Maybe. As long as there is a Mega Evolution Stone and an Evolution Keystone, it can be done, but the Mega Evolution Stone is naturally bred, so most Pokémon may not be able to Mega Evolve. Yu said. The official version of the game has only 46 species, and Zyozzy's Greninja cheats, so it counts as 47 species. The rest cannot Mega Evolve. So Silver Companion Warbeast cannot Mega Evolve. Gladian said. It should be. Yu said, at least under normal circumstances, if he finds the Mega Evolution Stone, and truly understands Mega Evolution, maybe there is still a possibility. Gladian nodded solemnly, his expression was a little heavy. If there is no Mega Evolution, he would be lowered. Although Mega Evolution is very important, it is not the only one. The training of Pokémon itself is also important, just like Beedrill can also be Charizard. Don't be obsessed. And your silver companion is stronger than most Pokémon. Yu said, although it is man-made, it is also a mythical beast. Others' Mega Evolution, in many cases, is just standing on the same starting line as you. And your silver companion can fight continuously, while Mega Evolution can only be maintained for a short period of time, and there are still deviations in training. That's also. Gladian nodded, but his eyes were still fiery. Mega Evolution is not the only way to become stronger. He has a clear understanding of this, but obviously Mega Evolution is a way to become stronger, so you can't give up. Silver companion, no, don't we have other Pokémon? If you really want to study super evolution, you can breed Shakira. Yu saw what Gladian was thinking and said, as far as he knew, among Gladian's Pokémon, only Shakira's final evolution, Bangara, had a super evolution form. Shakira, is there one? Gladian said in surprise. But it has to be bred to Bangara form. How old is your Shakira, and when did you capture it? Yu asked. It wasn't long ago, about 2 months ago. After I finished the gym, I came to Silver Mountain in advance. I wanted to train in Silver Mountain, and then I saw a few Pokémon hunters catching it, so I asked Silver Companion to rescue it and capture it. As for how old it is, I didn't care. I heard from Miss Joy that it had just completed its evolution. Gladian said, you are lucky to meet it just after it has completed its evolution. Yu looked at Gladian and said, Shakira, as a quasi-god cub, is hard to come by on the black market and is one of the top products. In its final evolution form, Bangara is like a desert tyrant. Although it mainly lives in Silver Mountain, it is hard to find it by chance. As a result, Gladian came and met it. Sure enough, each one of them is a cheat. So, I have to cherish Shakira even more. Gladian said, that's how lucky this Shakira is. Yu smiled. To be honest, Shakira is not a good breeding object for most people. Because before evolving into Bangara, it is an invincible gold-eating beast. In the initial form, the illustration records that Yukara can eat the mineral veins of an entire mountain, and then bury itself in the soil, and evolve into Shakira. In reality, it is not so exaggerated. Only a few top quality ones can do it, otherwise Silver Mountain would have been eaten up long ago. But it can eat, it is true. And the development and combat ability are proportional to the value of the minerals eaten by Yukara. In other words, the better and more expensive the mineral metals eaten, the stronger the combat ability, and the worse and cheaper the mineral metals eaten, the weaker the combat ability. Someone has calculated that, with the same combat power, the cost of raising a Yukara and breeding it to Bangara is about 4 to 5 times that of raising a Dratinita Dragonite. This does not take into account Dragonite's Sky advantage. After all, if you have money, you don't want to waste it. However, the price of a Bangara cub on the black market is about the same as that of a Dratini. There is a very critical factor, the growth cycle. The growth cycle of Dragon-type Pokémon is generally longer. It takes 2 to 3 years or even longer to breed a Dratini to a Dragonite, even if all kinds of resources are available, but it doesn't take to breed a Yukara. If you are rich enough, you can breed a strong enough Bangara within half a year, and there will be no adverse effects. And obviously, the eldest son of the Ether Foundation, Gladian, belongs to this kind of person. As long as he is willing to spend money, Shakira can be superior to his peers in a very short time. This is also the reason why Bangara is often used as a villain Pokémon. The short breeding cycle and strong combat power allow the money obtained from huge profits to be turned into combat power as quickly as possible. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 224, Mage. He doesn't exist. Today's exhibition match is a special public performance by the champion of this year's tournament, Sasaki, and the champion of the last Quartz Conference in Kanto, the top 4 masters of the Champions League, Master Yu. It adopts a 3-on-3 mode. Both sides can only use 3 Pokémon, and they cannot be replaced. It's a best of 3 game. The audience in the stadium and in front of the TV should open their eyes and look forward to the exciting game. The exhibition match began under the host of the commentator. I went first, but I'm really at a disadvantage, Yu muttered. In the promotion of the game, he is the master and Zyos he is the latecomer, so as a master, he needs to release the Pokémon first. And in the best of 3 system, releasing the Pokémon first is undoubtedly a disadvantage. If you are unlucky, you will be defeated by Shinji. On the field, a black shadow condensed, and Jenga appeared out of thin air, and made a face. Master Yu, the first Pokémon is his strongest trump card. Jenga, is he trying to win the first game? What Pokémon will Zyos send out? Jenga. Zyos was also surprised. It was a little different from Zyogang's plan, but it didn't matter. The strongest would fight the strongest. Charizard, go ahead. With a roar, Charizard flapped its wings and flew out. A huge figure appeared in the sky. The temperature around it rose scorchingly, and the weather immediately turned into a sunny day. Zyos also sent out his strongest trump card, Special Charizard. Charizard vs. Jenga. Is the first game an ace battle? The commentator said excitedly, and the audience on the field was also in high spirits. Zyos' Charizard had just been seen 3 days ago. How powerful it was, and Yu's Jenga, many people had also seen on TV. This game must be exciting. Charizard, spray flames. Zyos took the initiative. The flames accumulated in Charizard's mouth, and the scorching and overbearing flames shot out and engulfed Jenga. Dive. Yu shouted, and Jenga turned into a ball of black mist and disappeared instantly. The method of sneaking into a different space and then attacking is really practical in the game. Digging a hole will still be attacked, but sneaking into a different space, except for Palkia, Hoopa, Giratina and other people who control the power of space, is basically invincible. Charizard's flames are powerful, but it also missed without any surprise. But even so, Yu's expression is still solemn, looking at the ground hit by Charizard's flames, a piece of red, almost completely cracked. Drought characteristics, sunny days increase the power of flames. And the special attack value of Y-Spray is as high as 159, which is the highest value among fire Pokémon. With the combination of the two, it is no wonder that Silver Companion War Beast was caught off guard and was knocked down by the vortex of fire. This opponent is really strong. Yu's eyes lit up, his mental power was highly concentrated, and he merged with Jenga's will. The terrifying ghost power burst out silently and engulfed Charizard. Charizard was hit hard and was blown away. Charizard, hold on, flame vortex. Zyos shouted. Charizard stabilized its body in the air, turned its head to look in the direction where Jenga appeared, and violently erupted with blazing flames. The blazing and terrifying flame storm swept out and spread across the entire venue in the blink of an eye. Although Jenga was elusive and agile, it was still hit by this huge flame vortex and was in the flames. Oh my god, what an amazing offense and defense. Master Yu used Jenga's ability to cleverly avoid Charizard's attack, and Zyos' Charizard was able to hit Jenga so accurately after enduring Jenga's full strength attack. It was really wonderful. What will Master Yu do next? The commentator shouted loudly. But before the shouting was over, Yu's eyes radiated a blue light, and an extremely terrifying force burst out in the vortex of flames. The space around Jenga was distorted, and it entered a super evolution form. Half of its body was hidden in the other dimension, and all the flames were completely exploded. The eyes were fierce, the breath was wild and domineering, and there was no longer the mystery of the ghost system before, but it was full of the domineering of the devil. A huge shadow ball condensed between Jenga's eyebrows and hit Charizard with a bang. Charizard, get out of the way. Zyos shouted loudly. Then the wings of the Charizard in the sky vibrated, turning into a residual image, bursting out at an astonishing speed in a millimeter, and forcibly avoided the attack of the shadow ball. Well done, attack with steel wings. Zyos was in high spirits, and the whole person and Charizard entered an excited and hot-blooded state, as if the whole person was burning. Charizard's broad wings shone with a bright white metallic luster, and it slapped down violently, with a fierce momentum. Shadow Fist. Yiaodeo's voice suddenly sounded. Then, a fist suddenly exploded in the sky and hit Charizard's head without any warning, interrupting Charizard's attack. After that, Countless shadow punches hit Charizard like raindrops. Charizard, show your courage and attack Jenga's body directly. Dragon Claw. Zyozzy said anxiously. Charizard, who was under the critical attack, listened and spewed out a hot flame. The flames on his tail were blazing, and he forcibly supported all the attacks. The dragon power on his claws condensed and turned into a huge Dragon Claw phantom, which slapped Jenga fiercely. That's it, Charizard. Keep using Dragon Claw. Zyozzy said. Charizard's speed was critical. After the super evolution, his speed has surpassed that of a jet plane, flying faster than Latias, biting Jenga tightly, and continuing to attack. Oh my god. Zyozzy's Charizard is so determined and courageous that it actually broke through Master Yiao's Jenga's Shadow Fist attack and now forced Master Yiao's Jenga into a desperate situation. The commentator said passionately. This scene was really beyond his expectation. Yiao, a champion in the top 4, was forced to this point by the champion of the regional conference. Yiao was also a little surprised at this moment, or in a complicated mood. Steel Wings, Dragon Claws. Use powerful fire tricks to offset the opponent's long-range tricks, then use super fast speed to close the distance, and then win with improvisation skills and powerful close combat ability. This is probably Zyozzy's tactics, a very unexpected tactic. Drought characteristics, fire attributes, 159 special attacks, and the talent of Y-Spray, which is a standard template for the wizard flow. For close combat, it should be X-Spray, with 130 attack values, and the characteristic is Hard Claws, which increases the power of close combat tricks. Seeing Y-Spray being used like this, Yiao felt a very wow feeling, watching others squandering and wasting. But when this person is Zyozzy, he can't complain, because this kind of thing is not the first time for him. Before the Mega Evolution, Charizard had a special attack of 109 and a close combat of 84. In Zyozzy's hands, the close combat fighting type special move Earth Throw is a god. Hone's Ace Lizard King has a special attack of 105 and a close combat of 85. In Zyozzy's hands, the close combat grass type special move Blade Leaf is a god. Carlos Ace Bond Greninja is even more excessive. The 4 commonly used special moves, except for Shadow Clone, are all close combat special moves, and Koga Greninja also has a special attack higher than close combat. Back then, when Yu watched the animation, he was fooled into thinking that Charizard and Lizard King were both experts in physical attack. All the unreasonable and irrational things suddenly become reasonable when they happen to Zyozzy. I really want to complain about a point, but I can't complain. This is Yu's current embarrassing mood. If I don't complain, I will be unhappy, but I don't know where to complain. Finally, I can only say one word of comfort. This is Zyozzy. Chapter 225, Suppressing Pikachu. Genji UI, Shadow Ball. Yu shouted. He and Jenga were already in sync, so there was no need to shout, as Jenga could faithfully carry out Yu's orders. But shouting like this would obviously raise his spirits, which would help him to fight. Jenga turned into a black shadow, covering the sky. The huge shadow ball crossed the sky, like the scorching sun in the sky, and it was like a star falling when it hit. Charizard, Flame Vortex. Zyozzy shouted, unwilling to be outdone. The flames of Charizard's tail burned to the maximum, perfectly matching Zyozzy's fighting spirit. Flames burst out of its mouth, and the hot and overbearing flames burst out, making the entire battlefield like a furnace. Energy burst out violently, strong light flashed. Charizard fell to the ground, covered with scars, while Jenga floated in the air, a little tired, but obviously fine. Yu smiled. After a game, he had a good idea of Zyozzy's Charizard's strength. The normal Super King is stronger than Jenga's just evolved, but only slightly, and the strength is very limited. After all, before Zyozzy's super evolution, Charizard had a lot of flaws in its development, and its strength was at most a quasi Super King, maybe a little bit worse. It's not scientific to increase it too much all at once. And Jenga's super evolution is to add its own strength, so although it's a one-on-one situation, it's actually 2-on-1, so Charizard is not his opponent. At least before Zyozzy is as good as Carlos, he won't be his opponent. Charizard, show your courage and use the most powerful Steel Wings. Zyozzy shouted. Charizard's huge wings vibrated, and the bright white metal light shone, rushing towards Jenga with great momentum and speed. It seemed to have surpassed Jenga's limit. Jenga didn't even have time to dodge before being hit by Charizard, and Sasaki showed joy on his face. But before he had time to be happy, he saw Jenga hanging on Charizard, and then his eyes emitted strong hypnotic fluctuations. Hypnosis. Sasaki, who had challenged Yuan Sujim, immediately reacted to what this trick was. Only then did he realize what Yu wanted to do, and hurriedly said, Charizard, spin quickly and use Earth Throw. This was also his original plan. If he only used Earth Throw, the opponent would definitely not be able to bear it. Now with hypnosis, he would use spin to counterattack. When he heard this order, Yu, who was about to give the order, was shocked and looked at Sasaki in shock, as if he saw a fool. Then, with his hands in his pockets, he looked at Sasaki with a smile on his face. Please start your performance. Sasaki, who was in a passionate mood, was looked at strangely by Yu. Did I do anything wrong? Earth Throw. It's powerful. Wait, Earth is a fighting type, and Jenga is a ghost type. Sasaki suddenly realized and shouted, Charizard, go. However, the order at this time was useless. Jenga's body was weak, and he came out of Charizard's arms, looking straight at Charizard, and completely hypnotized Charizard. With a bang, Charizard fell directly to the ground. Then, Jenga used his usual trick of eating dreams to naturally restore his physical strength, making Charizard lose its fighting ability while sleeping. Contestant Sasaki, you actually used a fighting type skill on a ghost type Jenga. Did you forget the attributes when you started fighting? All the audiences at the scene and in front of the TV should pay attention. Remember the Pokémon attribute table. This is very important in the battle. The commentator explained the basic situation. The expressions of a group of people who knew Sasaki were subtle. Xiaomeo kept calling him an idiot. Gladion lowered his head in shame. I lost to such an opponent. Okay, Jenga, come back. Yu took back Jenga's Pokeball, then looked at Sasaki and said, don't dwell on failure. Play with me to finish the second game first. After the game, you can sigh. Absol, come on stage. Absol, Pikachu, it's up to you. Sasaki looked at Pikachu at his feet. Pikachu jumped down calmly and stood on the battlefield, his cheeks shining with electricity. Pikachu, use lightning. Sasaki gave the first order, and Pikachu turned into a white light and quickly rushed towards Absol. Preemptive. Absol's eyes flashed with green light, as if it could see through everything, and it dodged Pikachu's attack first. Pikachu, use lightning in succession. Pikachu missed, but Sasaki's order did not stop at all. The pressure caused by a failure made him grow a lot invisibly. Pikachu jumped, and it was really like a white light. Preemptive can see through the opponent's situation and make a prediction, and it will definitely avoid the opponent's trick. But like defending, continuous use may fail. Sasaki didn't know this, but he firmly believed that continuous attack would always hit. Shadow Clone. Yu said. Yu's command was still not hurried or slow. The current Pikachu was extremely fast and powerful, but it was not Pikachu, and its strength was not even acquire-seeking. It was not difficult for Absol to hunt slowly. Absol, while running, suddenly transformed into a group of clones, running all over the field. Pikachu tried several times, but all of them missed. Pikachu, use 100,000 volts to attack all Absols. Sasaki shouted. If they couldn't separate them, they would attack together. Pikachu understood, and the current surged on his body, and 100,000 volts were ready to go. Evil Wave. But before the attack was launched, an energy wave full of evil aura suddenly burst out and hit Pikachu, knocking Pikachu completely away and falling helplessly to the ground. It was a wonderful attack and defense. Master Yu and Sasaki's Pokémon attacked each other, but it seemed that Master Yu's Absol was better, with clever evasion and powerful attack. Sasaki, will he lose even this game? The commentator reported the situation. Pikachu. Sasaki looked at Pikachu worriedly. Pikachu shook his head, indicating that it was fine. It had experienced many battles. Okay, you Scientail. Sasaki shouted. Pikachu's expression was firm, and his tail shone with a bright white metallic luster, smashing towards Absol fiercely. Air slash. Yu ordered. Absol's sickle-like black horns shone with flying power, and sharp air blades condensed out of thin air, hitting Pikachu, who jumped up fiercely. Pikachu screamed and was knocked out again. It's almost done, Absol, use all your strength. Yu shook his right hand, and the ring on his finger shone with dazzling colorful light, connecting with Absol. Absol transformed in the light, and became a super evolution again. Oh my god. What's going on? Absol has a new form. Is this a collective transformation? The commentator was surprised. Absol also has a super evolution form. Zyos looked at Yu in shock. There are many Pokémon that can super evolve, and it's not the only one. This is the correct way for ordinary people to use it. In addition, see you next time. Absol, the last blow, destroy the death ray. Yu said. Golden light burst out from Absol's mouth, and a beam of light filled with destructive light burst out with great momentum, hitting the direction where Pikachu was, and the ground exploded, emitting smoke and dust like a sandstorm. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.